Well, good morning, everybody. I see Tim Lindsay. I see Susan. Let's get ready to rumble. Wait, wrong place. Where am I today? Let's get ready to ignite. So, good morning, everybody. I am Brooke Silva, Regional Technology Trainer here in New England. So many familiar faces on, so many new faces. So excited to see you all. Susan, I'm going to stop sharing your screen for a second so we can see everybody's happy faces. Everybody, wave to us this morning. Say hello. Video's on. Stretch. Grab those student resources and let's get ready to learn. You have fabulous instructors to kick you off today, and I'm so excited you decided to join us on this journey. Tim and Susan will be dropping tons of nuggets in there, but don't worry if you miss something. These are recorded and put in our KW New England YouTube channel, so you can go back and replay those sections. So, Tim, Susan, introduce yourselves and let's kick this off.
Susan, go ahead.
Okay, hi everybody. I am Susan Kenyon. I am up in New Hampshire with the Portsmouth, New Hampshire Market Center. Thank you so much for being here. It's like right before a major holiday weekend. So congratulations for sticking in there on a Thursday right before the 4th of July weekend to, do something really great for your career. I am a producing agent in New Hampshire. So when I am talking to folks like you, I'm really coming from a different perspective than maybe some of your future instructors during Spark and Elements, which is really great. I'm coming from that perspective of we are salespeople and we are here to make money and we're here to help people. So that's the perspective that I'm going to bring to you guys today. I hope that if you guys have any questions, please, leave your videos on. I really love seeing your faces. Jump in and interrupt me. You don't need to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I will do my best to find you out there in video Zoom land, but you're certainly welcome to just unmute and jump right in and participate.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Timothy Lindsay. I'm the productivity coach for Market Center 463, where Susan Kenyon prints all of her money, which we love. She's a phenomenal teacher. So I'm going to invite you to obviously be part of this whole experience throughout the month of July. The reason we drop it between 9 and noon, it is a class about lead generation, dropped in a window of time for lead generation. I'll let that sink in, right? This is if your face has something to do right now in real estate, it's about lead generation in the morning, so you can be on appointments in the afternoon. And we'll be talking about that and all facets of real estate for the next month. So please make sure this is the most important thing in your calendar. The reason we call it Ignite, you're lighting the wick of your business, right? And we're going to go through Spark. And then the second half of this is Elementals. Just for some context, our regional operating principal, Matt Erdman, is going to be teaching agent financials at the end, maybe the 17th session. I think it's section 8 of Elementals is agent financials. And he's taking time out of his schedule to be with us to talk about that opportunity. So please plug into all of this. They are being recorded. They will be on the the Keller Williams New England YouTube page. I do believe there's more meat on the bone and there's more interactivity, and there'll be a better experience for you if you stay live in the classroom. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat. We'll do our best to get to all your questions when we take breaks in about an hour, and then another break in the 11 o'clock hour. Obviously, there'll be some time to ask your questions then too, but we invite you to obviously get to the men's and ladies room and get some coffee or water or scotch, whatever you need to get to 12 o'clock. And if we can help with anything in between time, I'll put my contact info in the chat as well. So I'm really glad you're here. We're looking forward to this. And this is to remind you guys, Gary feels this class is for everyone who's done 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months. So raise your hand if you've done 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months. Excellent. We're in the right place. Who's excited about learning how to be a better realtor to serve your clients? Love that. Susan, thank you so much. I'll let her take it away.
Okay. Usually takes me like a few slides just to get in to make sure that I'm advancing correctly. There we go. We're off to a good start. So just to start with, congratulations. Like, you've done a lot of work just to get here. I don't know, raise of hands, how many people are like brand new agents within the last 6-12 months? Okay, awesome. Quite a few. And so it's really fresh on your brains, right? Like how hard it is to get that little license card, that pocket card, and and go through the classes and pass the test. And the passing the test part is not easy, whether it's your state's test or the national part of your test. Super hard, a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of hours put in. So kudos to you for getting through that. And congratulations for picking an awesome industry and career to be in. Real estate is a lot of fun. And what we're going to learn today is the other part. You know, when as soon as you get your license, people are like, oh, that's such a hot industry. You must be doing awesome, right? And then they don't get like the back end of like, okay, I've got my license. Now, what the heck do I do? How do I get started? So congratulations for taking this course and for participating. So, you know, we like to say that how you participate here is how you participate everywhere. So participate today because you picked real estate, and real estate means we talk to people. So talk to me and talk to the other people in your class today. It's like Vegas, like everything stays here. You're in a very safe environment. And, you know, one of the ways that we start here is to talk about your big why. Why did you want to become a real estate agent? And, you know, what were your hopes and your goals? Does anybody have anything that they want to share for that? Yeah, go ahead, jump right in. Darwin, go ahead.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I joined real estate essentially because just people I've met in the past have been very financially independent, and that's something that I really want to achieve. I really want ownership of my time. Working as a real estate agent, you are your own boss, so that's something that I very much am attracted to. But also just receiving the knowledge and just gaining the experience of helping people with this enormous step in their life when it comes to purchasing a home. And it's just great people in the industry. So that's why I joined.
Awesome. Awesome. Go ahead, David.
I got into real estate probably before a lot of you younger people were born in 1976. And did a lot in the Rocky Mountains and in Anchorage, Alaska. But basically working with investors. And then I got sidelined because I got an MBA, went into equity financing, and got out of that. I retired out of that in 07. So I missed the 08 to 10 little debacle. And my wife said, what did you enjoy the most? And I said, I liked, you know, working with real estate, helping developers develop buildings. And she said, well, why don't you do it again? So here I am. I was with KW earlier. As long as everything stays here, I've been fighting cancer. I'm head and neck cancer. I'm cancer free now. And then I had to fight chronic fatigue for over a year. But I took Ignite 1.0, and I look forward to 2.0. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. And, you know, good for you. We're pulling for you. I'm glad the fatigue part's over. So you've already done hard things. So jumping into real estate during what I think is one of the hardest times to jump into real estate should be easier for you. You've already done things way harder. Good for you. Anybody else? And I can't see everybody's. Oh, go ahead. I see Courtney.
I'll go. Yeah. So I mean, I was in the military, and when I got out, I struggled a lot to find a new purpose and to find a way that I could help people and give back and be a part of a family. And any of the seasoned real estate agents on here is probably thinking, well, that's real estate, being part of a family, being part of this, doing that, helping people. And once the pandemic hit, I was fed up with trying to figure out how to work into a 9-to-5. And I said, I'm just going to start doing things that I like. And I've always loved looking at houses and kind of working with people and managing myself. And so I went and got my construction technology certification and my real estate license. And this is where it brought me. And so now it's just finding I don't know. I'm still learning what my goals are, honestly.
Me too. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for serving. I do appreciate that. What branch were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations. That's no easy
Thank
feat.
you. Thank you.
Awesome.
And congratulations, David.
Awesome. Well, you guys are all in the right place. And, you know, the activities that you undertake on a daily basis ultimately write the script for your life. So what we do is important, right? So when we're figuring out our goals and figuring out what are our daily activities going to be that will get us to our goals, they matter. So we're going to talk today about what are those activities? How do we do them? And when do we do them? And we're going to dive right into that today. There is a great quote from Henry Ford that says, "If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right." So if you think you can do it, absolutely you can do it. And if you think you can't do it, you're right, you can't do it. So what we tell ourselves and that recording that we play in our own heads is very, very important. So we need to be telling ourselves the right things and telling ourselves that, yes, we can do this. And yes, we are going to do this. And not only that, we're going to do it at a high level where we're really impacting other people's lives and impacting our families and our personal lives in a positive way. So how big do you want your business to be? How many people do you want to help? Those are all great questions for you guys to be thinking about, because we are self-employed. You're starting your own small business. And you know, good for you. You're starting your own great business with the greatest company to do it in. So good job on picking Keller Williams. And so we're going to jump into, you know, what successful agents do every day. And what I really love about this course is that KW went out and talked to the most successful agents out there and asked them, well, what are you guys doing to be successful and to be successful at the high levels that you're at? And then they built this class, this whole course and series around what they do. So why don't we just do what they do? Let's not recreate the wheel. Let's do what other most successful agents do. And they really broke it down into, you know, both sides of this slide, where on the left, we talk about growing your business. And then on the right, we're going to talk about running your business. And you guys are going to see this slide every day during Ignite, because this is your roadmap. This is what you need to do. This is what most successful agents do. And while Courtney had mentioned goals, our goal for Ignite is for you to focus on getting your first appointment within 2 weeks. So if you need to take a minute and write that down, and write it down multiple times and put it on a sticky note and put it on your computer and put it on your refrigerator and put it on your mirror in the bathroom so that it's the first thing that you see in the morning, that is your goal, to focus on getting your first appointment within 2 weeks. And I know a lot of you are going to get that first appointment long before the first 2 weeks.
Susan,
Yeah.
I'm just checking on my sanity. I don't think you have your screen up.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? I'm not. Oh, she took my share screen away.
Oh,
and I
stand
put it
by.
back.
Hang on.
Hold on.
You got
Thank
it?
you, Tim.
Okay.
How are
I'm
we
only a
doing?
few pulls into my Starbucks, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the only one.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, good. Feel
I
better.
was thinking all you other people. You should have jumped in. Okay, so you guys can see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Let me put that over here. Perfect. So now you can see the left side and the right side where we're going to talk about growing your business and running your business. And this is the slide that you guys are going to see every day during Spark. And it is super important. So for growing your business, we're going to talk about the most important part of your job, which is lead generate for buyers and sellers. Successful agents lead generate every single day. If you never lead generate, if you never get to all of the growing your business side, you never get the privilege to get to the running your business side of the house. So that's why the growing the business side is put over on that first section, because it's that important. And it's all about the lead. So, you know, we all like to help people. I hope that we all care about people and we want to help people. But we are salespeople. And it's important that we remember that, because this is a sales job. So the first part of your sales job is closing on getting your appointment, right? So first you have to be able to call and connect with people to get your appointments. And then you have to close on getting the appointments. And we're going to talk a lot about that during Ignite. And, you know, lead generation really is all about caring about people. When we generate leads to help improve people's lives, that's how we generate commission dollars. So when we start at the beginning and we tell ourselves that we're lead generating because we care about people and we want to improve people's lives, and sometimes that's helping people into an awesome situation, and sometimes it's helping people retrieve from a not so awesome situation. Whatever that looks like, that's our job. And, you know, then we're going to make seller presentations, and we're going to get seller agreements signed and get listings. And to do that, we have to get appointments and sit at kitchen tables and talk to people, talk to the decision makers. We're going to make buyer presentations, and we're going to sign buyer agency agreements. And then after we do that, we get to have the fun of taking them out shopping. And there's a whole art around that. There's a great section in here on buyer presentations later on in Ignite, that you guys will learn a lot about that. And, you know, we have to preview real estate. So if we're not doing business, if we don't have agency agreements signed right now, how do we preview real estate? That was a real question, not a rhetorical.
So
Jump right in.
in my area, we do broker open tours. We haven't done it as much since COVID, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, typically, brokers will do small raffles or do kind of like a catered lunch, or depending on what your price point is in the market. So just kind of going out and doing a broker open tour or BPOs, like broker price opinions. I also work in construction, so I kind of view a lot of new constructions and rehabs.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm having a little technical.
No, you're okay.
Here we go.
I can
You
stop
keep
talking.
going. That's exactly right. You have to do all those things. Am I going back? Here we go. Let me start from the beginning. The broker tours can be really good, and it is a matter of just finding a way to get into the house, right? Is anybody else doing open houses to get into houses?
Yes, I've been to a couple open houses.
Perfect. And what are you doing when you go to the open house? What are you looking at?
Primarily, initially, I've been interacting with the other agent and seeing how they host the open houses, what documents they have, what kind of advertisement they have. And then I'm also taking a class on getting a staging certificate, if you will, design staging. So my eyes have been open to those details of cleanliness, clutter, things like that. So personally looking at those things and how well the agent may or may not have prepped their seller.
Yeah.
For those things.
Those are good things to look at, Taryn. And when we are at open houses, I'm just going to put one little disclaimer in there. You know, when someone's hosting an open house, and I got a Facebook page and put it out there to agents that you're available to host open houses for them.
Yes.
Because you know what I don't have time to do? I don't have time to do my own open houses. Do I, Anthony? I know you're in there somewhere.
I'd love to help.
So Anthony's done some of my open houses. So, you know, put yourself out there, and kind of like what we're going to continue to talk about with communicating with your people is that you have to do it consistently. If you want to be able to preview open houses or do open houses for other agents, you have to consistently be putting it out there that you're available to do it. It's not kind of a one-off.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a message that you learn in real estate over time too. So that person's put a lot of effort into open houses. So I would encourage you to go to open houses, go through the properties, and then leave the hosting agent alone unless you're just kind of silently observing them. And we never talk to other buyers and people at the open house because that's the opportunity for the hosting agent to get leads, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Susan. Sorry,
but
we're
yeah,
getting a
go to-
little furniture delivery. So I just wanted to say, yes, I really appreciate the open houses. They are an awesome opportunity. You know, you never know who's going to walk in that door, you know? So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yep.
Go back over there.
Awesome. Yeah. Open. Hey, you know what's another great thing is I love inspections, and I still love home inspections. I'm a weirdo like that. But home inspections are a fantastic way for you to learn about the property. So we want you to be previewing property so that when you have the opportunity to be sitting at a listing presentation or shopping with a buyer, you're learning about what to look at the property. So, you know, when you're sitting down with the seller and they have so much, you know, that's their home, they might have pride of ownership there. They're not, if I had to walk around my own home with my realtor hat on, I would see a lot in my home that I don't see when I'm just coming home after a busy day. The things that I look at when I go and preview other sellers' homes, like deferred maintenance, cleanliness, maybe odor, dog, cat, cigarette smoke, clutter, opening up cabinets and closet doors, like how full are they? Does it look like there's not a single ounce of storage space for future buyers to be walking in here? Can I actually see the baseboards when I walk around can I see all four walls when I walk around the basement? That's going to be important. You know, how old are the appliances? Are there any stains on the ceilings from possible moisture problems, leaking problems? So we're previewing real estate so that we can then offer value to maybe a seller on what things they're going to need to do to their home to make it more marketable. We're previewing homes so that when we're shopping with a buyer, we're looking at those things. They're not looking at those things, right? The buyers are going to be walking around going, I don't know if my oversized sectional is going to fit in that living room. I don't know if my dining room table is going to work here. Will my king size bed work here? Do I like the kitchen? Are those really granite countertops? You know, that's what they're looking at. So we're looking at all those other things. So right now is an awesome opportunity for you guys to preview real estate. Get into homes and start looking at them. Can you look at a heating system and know if it's a forced hot air, if it's a forced hot water, if it's an on-demand water system? You know, are you looking, is it oil? Is it propane? Is it natural gas? Those are the questions that when you leave the property with a buyer and you have to write an offer, they're not going to remember, but it's going to be important that you know all of those things. So when we're previewing real estate, we're really just, we're training ourselves to look at real estate in a different way. It's not the HGTV, I like looking at homes. It's, I want to impact and improve people's lives. And if I'm going to have to write an offer on this home, I need to make sure I'm doing and writing the best possible offer for my buyer. I'm protecting my buyer through the right contingencies. I'm looking at this property and I'm previewing this with my seller so that I can offer them value. My job with you, Mr. Seller, is I want to get you every dollar that I can in the time frame and with the contingencies that work best for you. Now, if we do this list of things, we can increase the amount of money that I can have you walk away with. So we're previewing real estate for a lot of different reasons now that we have our real estate license. So we only get to preview real estate if we're lead generating. So the person who lead generates more gets more business. And it's
Well, could you
all about,
repeat that? Could you repeat that 10 times? Actually, I want everybody to write that down. There'll be a quiz at the end.
right?
And while we're repeating that, he
Sure.
or she who lead gens the most goes to the most closing tables. One of the laws that we practice here at our market center is, I'm sure everybody knows that today is July 1st. Does anybody know, today being July 1st, what is actually today? In a business cycle, what is today? If today is July 1st, it is actually
Mid-year.
Wednesday, September 29th.
It's the mid-year.
It's the mid-year, right?
Fiscal
It's
year.
the
Beginning of
first day
third
of the
quarter.
financial calendar.
Beginning of
we
the
are-
third quarter.
Yep. And we are 90 days out from September 29th. So in a typical, I won't say normal, because I think the universe lit the word normal on fire in the last 16 months. In a typical business cycle in real estate, if you have a conversation with somebody today and you get your face to their kitchen table in the next 24 to 48 hours, Susan can back me up on this, you're most likely going to be at a closing table in or around Wednesday, the 29th of September.
Yep.
So if your initial thought there was, wow, I should get to work, welcome. You're in the right place. We're glad you're here. She also referenced HGTV. I'm going to parse my words here, and I'm going to do my best to not cry or swear. That is not real life. I've heard so many agents in the last 3 weeks. It's almost like a thing right now. I'm hearing a lot of you guys say it's really tough to manage expectations. Susan can tell you it's easier to manage client expectations. And I said client, not consumer, not civilian, not some guy that jumped in my car that's not pre-approved. It's easier to manage client expectations when we set them in the first place.
Yep.
Right? They are playing by our rules, said with love, right? But we have to give, they are coming from an education. And I said that with an M on purpose because it's what happens. They're coming from the education of HGTV, which is a catastrophe. No one buys a house in 22 minutes minus commercials. So we're going to pick on that a lot because that is not
We
real
are.
life. And if you're here because of HGTV, we want you to stay, but there's a lot of heavy lifting. That is not real life. That is the movie trailer that makes us all go take our real estate class. It's going to be great. They buy the one without the furniture every time. I'll know which one to sell them. It's a television show. Sorry, Susan. I'm off my
No.
soapbox, which you couldn't even
Okay.
tell I was on it because I'm 5'9" anyway. But yeah, I'll stop talking now.
I'm sure I'm going to hit another soapbox moment before we're
Yes,
done.
yes, I'll be back, kids. I'll be back.
But it's true. The people who lead generate the most get more business. And getting more business is all about relationships, right? People do business with people they like.
Mhm.
So when I talked a little while ago about, that Henry Ford quote, that whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. See, we need to tell ourselves that we can lead generate. We can get appointments. We can get listing agreements. We can get buyer agreements. We can put people under contract and we can get to the closing table. We can help people. So people do business with people who they like. So like yourself, right? And that's all about relationships. And relationships equals talking to people. Your people have to know what you do. If you don't talk to them consistently, and we're going to talk more during, this whole month of July about talking to people and database and how frequently we talk to them. If we don't talk to them and we don't let them know what we do, they're never going to do business with you. That's being a secret agent. No one does business with secret agents. Okay, they do business with agents that bring value to the table. A lot of the times people sign with whoever is the most in front of them. Not the best agent in your market, not the agent that produces the most in your market. A lot of people will sign an agreement with whoever is the most top of mind with them the day they're ready to sign that agreement, or the day they decide that I need to put my house on the market. So it's our job to be top of mind and to be people that they like. So if the daily activities don't begin with lead generation, you never get to this running side of the business, and generating leads will help you make people's lives better. So you must produce the lead, okay? So once we get finished growing our business, we're gonna get the privilege to jump over to running our business. And, this is where I really want to caution you to focus on the growing the business, because a lot of people, when we get our license, we spend so much time on number one and number two here, marketing seller listings and showing buyer houses. And what I mean by that is we have to have our presentations looking perfect. I have to have everything in glossy. I have to have done the most beautiful publication. I have to have it in print. I have to have it in digital. It has to look absolutely right. I have to memorize everything. No, that comes after we lead generate. So we focus on getting the appointment. And then we get to market seller listings. Then we get to show buyers houses. Then we get to negotiate contracts. We get to transaction management to closing, which is contract to close, one of my favorite subjects, and I'll be here at the end of Ignite to talk to you guys about that. Vendor management, right? When I said relationships, that this business is about relationships, we have relationships with our market center. We have relationships with our people in our database, our customers and our clients. And we have relationships with the vendors that help us get to the closing table. That's that strategic team that we all have to work together, like our co-brokes, like the title people or attorneys and lenders and inspectors and appraisers. We manage all of that. We're the ones in charge. And we have to set goals, right? We have to set goals. How many appointments am I going to get this week? How many contacts am I going to make this week? How many handwritten notes am I going to send out this week? How many listings am I going to get? What's my goal for closings this year? And you know, our goal right now is to get our first appointment within the first 2 weeks. We have compliance and risk management. This is really important, folks, right? Like, we are helping people through one of the biggest transactions they might have in their whole life, buying or selling a home. We have risk around ourselves and keeping ourselves safe from risk, but we also have a job to keep our clients safe from risk through property disclosures and being honest and you know, all of the contracts that they have to sign and what is that going to mean for them. So we have to do some education around that too. And we attend training and we get coaching, and then we manage our money. And I'm so thrilled to hear that Matt Erdman is going to be doing that finance piece. And I will definitely be back for that because I've heard him speak about agent finances and he does such an amazing job. If you know, look at this slide with growing your business and running your business, that's a lot of work. So if we do all of this work and at the very end, we have no money at the end of the year, we're not doing it right. And this happens all the time. Why? Because we're the easiest person to sell to. I admit, I chase shiny objects like it's nobody's business. People will call you on the phone. Do you want to pay for this monthly subscription? Do you want to buy this lead source? Do you want to pay for this marketing piece? If, you know, oh, I got a commission check. I'm going to go put a down payment on a new convertible, but I didn't take out money for my taxes yet. Oh, and I'm going to have rent. Oh, and I had 4 pendings, but now 2 of them have gone awry and I now only have 2, but I was expecting 4. So managing our money as self-employed, 1099 independent contractors is super important. So we're going to talk about, there's a whole day dedicated to managing your money.
Yeah. And the point that Maddie makes on that one, Susan, is I think in the last couple of years, agents have, you know, within the industry have made more money than they've ever made ever. And the question you have to ask yourself, okay, so you're bringing in more. Are you saving and investing more than you ever had as well? Right. Because if you finish this 24-month run or whatever you're in the midst of right now, where our industry is on fire and we're all making more money than ever, and you've just got more stuff and you don't have more financial security, and we'll talk about that. There's a couple of questions in the chat too. Courtney asked if we're going to discuss different avenues for lead gen. We're absolutely going to do that. And David Elliott made the point of when Business Planning Clinic comes to a theater near you, you should attend. Most market centers are going to run that probably in the fall months, because I know at our market center, we like to have that done by October 1st. So you can have a plan to put into action to start to create opportunities for January 1st because of that 90-day window. So if you haven't heard about Business Planning Clinic, ask your leadership in your market center when they intend to host that. I'm sure we'll be doing it regionally with the connectivity of the country. I'm sure you'll see it delivered nationally too. But your market center will probably be delivering that. And it's great to do that in a classroom, hands-on with fellow agents asking questions. It's a phenomenal, it's basically the red book, A to Z, all the models with goal setting on the end. And you can usually, if you're doing it in a brick and mortar setting, it's a full day. It's an 8-hour day. Wow, a whole 8 hours to plan an entire year. Yes. Yes. I would like you to invest in you. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Trevor, for letting me know my sound was breaking up, and I'm hoping this is
There
better.
it is. Yeah.
Okay,
You're
there we
usually
go.
like flying the plane. I'm like, what happened to the headset? Yeah.
Perfect. Well, usually I have someone at home, but it's summertime, so my daughter's actually working.
Oh.
Yay.
So
Not in
she's
real estate
saving
yet,
as
but,
well, as we just said. Yeah.
So yeah, and you know what? I did her on the envelope system, and her
Oh.
first 50% of every check has to go into that, the little
Dave
accordion
Ramsey,
folders.
Financial Peace. Yep.
Yes.
Dave
Yes.
Ramsey, Financial
Yes.
Peace. Yep.
Hey, and I'm a very transparent and direct person. I learned this the hard way, the money piece.
Mm.
I've made those mistakes, so I really want to encourage all of you not to do what I have done. I fail forward all the time. So I've made the mistake of not saving enough money. I've made the mistake of not paying my quarterly taxes. It's not fun getting out of that. So learn from me. Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide, if I can get there. And we're going to talk about, this is our roadmap for the day. What is Spark? Spark is, the sessions of fueling your career, starting with your sphere. We're going to talk about knowing the tools and preparing for success. That's all what we're doing today in Fuel Your Career. And it's really, hopefully going to motivate you to put a plan together, motivate you to get on the phone and talk to people, motivate you to really understand that growing your business side. I hope all of you all had the chance to download this presentation. Print out that slide. That's a very powerful slide to constantly bring you back to what you need to be doing. And right now, fold it in half so you're really looking at that growing your business side. And tell yourself, I'm going to have an appointment within 2 weeks. And then if you get that appointment in the first week, don't sit back, because the whole goal of lead generation is whoever lead gens more gets the most business and goes to the most closings. So readjust your goal and say, I now need another appointment within the next week. We're going to recap AHAs, and we're going to talk about daily success habits. So welcome to Ignite. And we do have a little video here. I hope that my sound comes through here from Gary, so I'll play that now.
I can't hear anything.
There's no sound.
There isn't? Hold on. Still no sound?
No.
No.
Is it in your headset?
Oh, maybe.
Have found that they too started their
Can you hear
careers
that?
with these fundamentals.
Okay, I'm going to
And
start
they
it over.
continue to do them along with their teams to Hi, I'm Gary Keller. This course will allow you to get off to a fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principles every 90 days for a year, believe me, you have an awesome first year. And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. And it's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck.
Hey,
So-
Susan.
Hi.
So I have the Ignite Spark documents up, but in front of all of the pages, it has that labs thing like covering it.
Tim, do you have the PDF of today's presentation by any chance that you could, I know you put it up earlier, but I don't know if everybody was here when you put that up. And hold on. I will find a way to get that to you, Courtney.
I think it's in the chat now, actually.
Yeah, that's where I pulled it from. The one at the top, Ignite Spark Your Fuel. I downloaded the file, opened it, and it has like the
Oh, I
an
see.
ink stamp.
I see it now.
Are you on the Facebook page, Courtney?
Yes.
Put in there in the Facebook page, let me see, that it might be on the Facebook page, and Brooke should be there, and ask her for it.
Okay.
And did you get an email in your from your KW email about Ignite?
I did.
It
Okay.
should be in there
I'll
too.
just look there. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So, you
So
know,
I don't feel as bad about my terrible mustache now that Mr. Keller has a mustache. Wow, you know, I haven't really seen too many pictures of him. He's
yeah, he does rock the
cool.
mustache.
It's quite the mustache on him. Mr. Keller.
Yeah, he's pretty good. We're going to drop a lot of Gary Keller nuggets during the course of Ignite. But you know, one of the things he said in that video, and I have this, I'm at my home office, my home today, because I'm a loud talker, and my work office has people in there that don't want to hear me talk about Ignite. And I wrote this on a sticky note, and it's on my work computer. And it says, dealing with business never takes precedence over finding business. That is what lead generation is for. Dealing with business never takes the place of finding business. Okay, nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads that you have. And it's so true. And we're going to be like kind of a broken record during Ignite talking about leads. But getting people through the process of buying and selling real estate is fun, but it all starts about the lead.
Well, Susan, and Gary's got that note on his desk, right? Gary Keller has a note on his desk that says, if it's not about my one thing, it's a distraction. And the irony is, a lot of people will joke. They're like, well, so Timmy, Gary writes this book called The One Thing, but it feels like Gary's got a million things. He does. He's got a million people helping him control a million things. His one thing is to keep you guys central in the transaction. He says it all the time. When he passes away, on the back of his gravestone, it's going to say Gary Keller, Realtor. Like he's not a businessman who decided to get into real estate. He's a realtor who built a massive company and built a sandbox we all get to play in. So like, there's no misinformation coming down from Austin and from Gary. This is all about how you guys stay on track. And if you're like, well, no, I'm a realtor, I don't do lead generation. Well, Kohl's is looking for people to fold t-shirts. I'll wait while you leave the room. Or you can realize that lead generation is what we do, so we can do what we do.
Yeah.
Like, and Susan talked about this earlier. Like, everybody's worried about, well, my website's not done yet. It's never going to be done.
It's
My
never.
business
Mine's still
cards
not
aren't
done.
in yet. Like all these things, right? We want all these things to be perfect. You're building Disney, and there's nobody in the park to come play on the rides. Like, you need to get your first client through the door, and they're going to help you start to build and polish your systems and models, which are already in the Red Book for you. And we're going to discuss them over the next 27 days, right? So just stay plugged in. No, we're not giving you any misinformation. And your one thing is lead generation, like it or not. And I recommend you start to slowly fall in love with it somehow. And to Courtney's earlier question, there's a myriad of things you can do to find your people, and we're going to help you find your genius zone.
You know, and one of the things that I absolutely love about Keller Williams is all of the training opportunities that there are, but we can get buried in that.
Mm-hmm.
You can train and train and train, but if you're not getting on the phone and talking to people and connecting with people, then all of it won't matter if you can make pretty presentations. It won't matter if you can rock command. It won't matter, you know, if you know all about transaction management and risk mitigation. If you're not getting people, you're not getting to kitchen tables and signing agreements.
Yeah, somebody said once, Susan, yeah, at Keller Williams, you run the risk of becoming a professional student. Well, the difference between a professional and an amateur, professionals get paid. So if you're just sitting in classes, not making any money, you're an amateur student.
Absolutely.
And we welcome you. We want you to be plugged into the training and the coaching. And there's also time for you to step away and have conversations with people. It should be a diverse mix of both.
Yeah. So you're going to see things on the training calendar that you're like, I really am interested in that. And what's really awesome is that it will be back around again. So right now your training should be focused on lead generating. So if there's training to get you through lead generation and to get you to have appointments, that's what your focus should be. Because getting people through the process of buying and selling real estate is fun. We love doing that. But that piece is finite. When the transaction closes and you get your commission check, if you don't have more people to transact with, you don't have any more income. So we need to make sure that we're constantly lead generating and constantly filling that sales pipeline so that we don't have an income that looks like this. Roller coaster. Oh, I have contracts. Oh, I closed contracts and I haven't been lead generating, so I don't have any more. So now I have to lead generate, and now that's going to take 30 to 60 days. And then I'm going to get that contract. That's going to take 90 days to close. You know, that's no fun, and your families deserve more from you than that. Okay. They deserve for you to bring home a paycheck. We need to, we're problem solvers. There's definitely business out there. You know what? Does everybody here live in a home? Right? We all live somewhere. There's plenty of people to help. So when you look through your Facebook friends or your Insta friends or however you conduct social media, all of those people out there need a house. Whether they need it today or in a year, or whether they know somebody within the next few months that's going to need one, you need to find those people so that you can help them solve a big problem of where they're going to live. The best sales job is when you actually have something to sell that people must have. And we're lucky to be in this business to do that. I'm just going to remind you guys to feel free to jump in because I know I can kind of ramble. So this is a really great slide because we're going to talk about daily habits, right? So we have Spark, these sessions in Spark. This is the whys and hows of lead gen that we're going to be talking about during Spark. So, 30 minutes daily of updating your contacts in Command. If we don't have contacts, then we don't know who to talk to. Otherwise, we kind of sit down at our desk in the morning and, we kind of go like this. And then an hour goes by and we haven't picked up the phone and dialed it. Or had a two-way communication with somebody about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. So we have to be putting, contacts in Command. We have to be setting them up on some sort of system so that we know who to be reaching out to. And they want to hear from us. So again, it's that recording that we play in our head. I'm calling or I'm reaching out to offer value. Okay. So we're going to talk more about database and stuff like that. And, we need 30 minutes every day of practicing scripts. That's role playing. Okay. Why do we do script practice and role playing?
To practice how to confront situations and how to deal with them.
Absolutely, right? We don't want to practice on our customers and clients.
You want to be, as I say, you want to be prepared when those difficult questions arise. You want to have the answer. You don't want to search for it.
Absolutely, Noah, right?
It's a macabre example, but Gary said it before. Diana Kokoska said it before. If you are in a teaching hospital, you don't practice on real bodies. They give you a cadaver, right? So we don't want to think of our loved ones as dead bodies with toe tags, although maybe your aunt, I don't know. That aside, we want to make sure that we're in a comfortable experience and we're having a conversation with people that we know and love and trust, or a peer of ours in the market center, because the number one answer is, well, I don't like using scripts, Timmy, because they make me sound scripted. Yes, because you've never read it before. It's your first time reading the words. It's when you start to internalize those scripts over time And these are scripts that work for everybody. You just got to find the way you're going to use it in conversation. And you're not going to sit and read it word for word. You're just going to internalize it so you can exercise it and emotionalize it, right? And make it conversational. Great point. Whoever just spoke up and said about the one thing that you guys will probably want to say, and I'm going to invite you not to say it, is when somebody has a question that you can't answer, don't say, I don't know, I'll find out. Don't say, I don't know, I'll find out. Say, great question, Susan. Let me look into that for you, right? Because you just told her she had a great question. You said she's wicked smart, and you'll look into it. Because you guys are never going to have all the answers, ever, ever. The rules are changing every day. The laws are changing every day. The industry changes every day. And you guys have to remember, you're going to be the source of their real estate greatness. You're never going to be the end all be all. If you would like to be the end all be all, go to Kohl's and fold t-shirts. You'll be in charge of the whole department, right? You're always going to be connecting your people and your unmets to your Mets and to your allied resources to get people to the finish line.
Absolutely. And you know, if we don't script and we don't practice how to respond to people, then we don't have the opportunity to actually listen to them. And it's important that we listen, because if we don't practice scripts, we're not listening to what they're really saying because we're worried about what we're going to have to say next. Like, oh my God, what if they ask me about commission? Well, they haven't even asked about that yet, but you're worried about that. So we practice scripts so that we know how to react to their objections, so that we can ask the right questions to uncover their objections, because not everybody's going to blurt out what their objections are. We have to come from curiosity. You know, we have to control the conversation. We have to guide people down a path. And they're looking for us to be in control. They don't know what to do. They want us to be there to guide them. So we practice scripts daily so that we can handle those types of objections. And you don't get every objection every time. You know, another thing that sometimes can happen is we're listening for the objections, so we're throwing up all of our knowledge on them when they're telling us they don't have those objections. So here's an example. I was with an agent at a presentation, and they had been practicing scripts. They had an arsenal playing in their head of every possible objection. They were really good about practicing the scripts, but they never stopped to listen. So we had the contract in front of us, and the seller was giving us clues like, yep, yeah, absolutely, I agree, I want to get going. They're still going on with their scripts. It's okay to stop your script. So part of it is knowing when to start and when to stop. So when people are giving you those clues, that's when I jump in and I say, well, excuse me, it looks like what you're really trying to say is that you're ready to move forward and we have some paperwork we can sign. Does that sound good to you? Yes, it does. Great. Now we just transition our script. But the more we practice, we can have the opportunity to listen to what our people are telling us. And the more that we listen, the more that we can come from contribution and help them. So, you know, these circles of Spark are the 4 weeks that we're going to learn about the foundations for success and our daily success habits that we must do every day. And remember, these are what successful agents do every day. So if that's what they do every day and they're producing at a high level, then that's what we're going to model and that's what we're going to go after.
Gary
So we're going
said-
to practice
Susan-
scripts, and we're going to do an hour of lead gen time. Okay. An hour of actual lead generation. And what that looks like is two-way conversations, calling people. We're looking to earn new business. So lead generation isn't like trying to find an agent that will let you host an open house. If you do have a buyer, it's not setting up showings. If you have a seller, it's not about setting up photography. It's an hour of going after new business, setting new appointments so that you can get new agency agreements signed. Okay. And it's a two-way conversation. So, you know, I'm an advocate for picking up the phone, but there are other ways to have two-way conversations. If it's a true two-way conversation over Facebook Messenger or text or some social media platform, that's okay, as long as it's truly a two-way conversation. Now, remember, you're only tricking yourself if you say, I did an hour of lead generation. But if you don't have anything to show for it, you're not doing it right. We need to go back to some basics to figure out what that looks like. So when we're talking about, what are these daily success habits, you got to be authentic with yourself, because that's what's the most important. And I will encourage you not to hide behind your social media, because we do have to learn how to actually talk to people. We have to have phone call conversations. We have to have conversations about things that can be difficult, not only with our customers and clients, because remember, when we get to running our business, we're going to have vendors that we have to talk to. That's going to mean co-brokes, that those conversations are not always easy, but we need to have them. And we need to have them in a very timely manner.
Nathan Dickey, ROP Nathan Dickey would say, never email or text something that should be a conversation. Like, he loses his mind. He's like, so did you talk to the other agent about it? Yeah, I sent them a handwritten note. I don't know if they got it yet. Like, if you can't pick up the phone, and usually, right, and this is the mindset of this whole concept, is when you're heading to a fire, we want you to bring water, not kerosene, right? You want to calm and cool the situation. Our job is to ultimately, our legal responsibility is to come in between the two clients and insert professionalism and extract emotion. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a relationship, or you go from an unmet to an interpersonal relationship with your client over time. Everyone's probably going to do that, depending on how you're wired. You also don't want to start to work with and through their emotion. You want to keep reminding them that, it's a professional conversation. You and the other co-broker are there to do just that. And making sure that we're not getting lost in the emotion. To Susan's earlier point too, we appreciate that you've memorized the whole script, but like she said, like, if you you said a few words and they're ready to land the plane, and I suffer, I'm a high I followed by my I followed by my I, you'll figure that out over the next month. Like, land the plane, Timmy. Like, I've probably talked my way out of deals, guaranteed, right? So when you're getting the signals from them that they're ready to move forward, even though you memorized your whole script and you want to use it all, it's almost like, well, I know you're ready to move on, but I want to finish reading this because I worked really hard on it. We have to park our ego. It's like, that's the number one thing in real estate. Can you park your ego and start to facilitate on behalf of your clients? That's a huge thing. So picking up those signals will come with time, like Susan said, as you're dealing with more people and understanding how they're wired and how they communicate, you'll get social cues from them to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the words we say define who we are as business owners. So we're going to practice our script so that we know what to say. And we want to be eloquent, and we want to, we want to be separate from our competition. We want to elevate our level of communication so that we're elevating our position in the marketplace. It will build trust when you're speaking with people, and it will allow you to get more repeat business. So 30 minutes of daily lead gen, script practice. 30 minutes of daily updating your contacts in command, 30 minutes every day of script practice, an hour of lead gen. Then you need to practice your contracts. People, we must know our contracts. We shouldn't be looking at them the first time when we're in a presentation. And, your goal for that should be, you turn that contract around upside down, slide it across the table, and you just point to line 1 means this. Line 2 means this. Line 3 explains this. You shouldn't have to be reading the contract to them. You should know what every line in the contract means and how it could possibly impact them. So we need to practice our contracts first, but notice that comes after lead generation. And we're going to talk more about that 10-4, habits and activities we know will make you successful in a short period of time. It's going to be adding people daily to your database. It's going to be handwritten notes. It's going to be making contacts. So that's what Spark is going to do. And then after Spark, we're going to go into some elementals in the latter half of Ignite, where we're going to talk about business basics. So that part's a lot of fun too, but let's get through Spark first. And, we're going to start with your sphere. So we talk about lead generation, but who do we talk to? Okay. People like to do business with people that they know and trust. Your sphere of influence knows and trusts you. Some people are kind of hesitant to talk to their sphere, I'm going to encourage you to get over that. But my husband and I are both agents. We're spouses selling houses. We work together, and he got his license before me, and he wouldn't call his sphere, and he only called expireds really and for sale by owners, and he built his business doing that. And when I came on, I'm like, oh no, we need to really talk to our sphere because we've lived in the same town for a very long time. He had been self-employed for his whole life. He had a ton of contacts. We have 3 kids in the school system, for goodness sakes. So talk to your sphere. You know, they really do want to help you out. And if you don't like to talk to strangers, just open up your phone. That's where your sphere starts. You have contacts in here. Start with your friends and family first. Kind of, you know, get your feet wet with that. Let them know what you're doing. You can even talk to your family about practicing some of your contracts with them. Preview real estate. You could go into their homes and let them know you want to go in and look at their home from the perspective of a real estate agent. So you have contacts in your phone, you have a sphere. Those people already know, like, and trust you. They can help you build enthusiasm around your new career.
To
You know,
Susan's point, if you did an unsolicited CMA, like if your Uncle Tony has a great house or any house, anybody in your immediate sphere, could you let them know that you want to do an unsolicited CMA? I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna meet with you in a couple of days in person or via Zoom and let you know where you stand in the current marketplace. Would that be a problem for you? That shouldn't be an issue for them. And if you can let them know that they stand to net way more than they spent years ago, that would be helpful. It gives you an at bat. Nobody gets hurt. You get to, you know, just between us girls, we can call them a cadaver right now. Don't say that to their face. So my coach said to use you as a cadaver. Would you like to be my Thursday afternoon dead body? Like, that's not my point. My point is gives you an at bat without having to do it with the general public. To Susan's point, her husband, John, used to love to call expireds. And a big piece of that for agents is, well, I would rather have a conversation with somebody that doesn't know me because my ego doesn't get bruised if they say no. And they've raised their hand and they want to be part of the real estate conversation. Conversely, on the other end of that is the people closest to us. Your friend Stacy, who's on the dread mill next to you at Planet Fatness. You're like, oh, I'm pretty sure she knows I'm in real estate, but she doesn't know that you require her help to be in real estate. But you also don't want to have that conversation with her because you don't want to be salesy. It's not salesy. It's extracting the fact that it's transactional and helping them understand that you can romanticize it and make it emotional. Who do you know that we can help? Who do you know that we can serve? And if we're doing that on a regular basis, it's huge. And Susan held up her phone. That's where your entire career is. Believe us or not. That's where your entire career is. And yes, there's people that build it with expireds and FSBOs. The people in your life, and Susan made a great point, the differentiation, Susan, between sphere and sphere of influence, right? I see Darwin Almonte. He might have a ton of friends, right? I got a huge sphere, but they don't talk to anybody. So they're not influential, right? So we want to make sure we have a sphere, our people. Can we start to build that with people that are influential and create a true sphere of influence? Don't get lost in, I got 30 friends and nobody's willing to help. Cool. You know, you should probably head to Kohl's. Go find people that are going to help. Who are the mayors of the town? Who are the people that connect and talk to a lot of people, and add them to your sphere so your sphere becomes more influential? I hope that makes sense.
Yep. And you know, and then work it from there. You should be, if you're not on Facebook, get on it. Whether you like it or not, you got to engage, because now that's going to give you another layer of where you can communicate with your sphere, try to turn them into your sphere of influence. Reminding them, remember, we don't want to be a secret agent. So we need to be kind of hitting people from lots of different angles. We need to be reminding them that we're in real estate by offering value, you know? So, and someone saying, from where do you get your CMA from? I'm going to, you know, I told you guys, I will be honest and direct with you. I don't do a formal CMA when I go on a listing presentation. My CMA looks like I run comparables. I bring market activity reports that I run through my MLS. I don't put together a sparkly presentation that I leave behind, but I come prepared. I run comparables so that they know what houses have closed in the market that are similar to them recently. I let them know what their competition is by bringing them things that are are active on the market that are similar to theirs that buyers are going to go be looking at. I bring them what's pending in their market that is similar to theirs so that they can see what people have put offers on. If somebody's house doesn't look really great, like it may be just very outdated, but they're like, no, it's worth 500,000. And I can bring them a competitor that is on the market pending for 500,000, but everything's been updated. That's not me telling them what's going on in the marketplace. That's the market telling them what's going on. I'm just the vehicle, but I'm adding value. So for that question on where do you get your CMA from, you know, I would just lean back on your market center, and I'm going to try to stay away from too much state specific conversation, because I know we are coming from different states. I come from, you know, I sell in New Hampshire and Maine. If anybody needs anything in Southern New Hampshire and Maine, feel free to reach out to me. So go back to your market center for stuff like that. And they can tell you, you know, there's command training that can do CMAs and stuff like that for you. But if you can't have a conversation, get your appointment, you won't be able to do a CMA. So keep the daily success habits true, do those things. Afterwards, do things like look at how do I do a CMA. Command does have CMA functionality, Darwin, so it will definitely be in there. And you know, there's resources with your market center for that. There's that question mark, right? I believe it's still in the top right of Command that you can get some self-help with for Command on CMA. So after you guys get through your daily success habits, then do the, you know, go through some of the CMA stuff. Do that on the back end of your day. If you have more time built in your day to do lead gen, then go back and do that. If you haven't gotten the appointment, then you haven't done enough lead generation. And someone says, how do you overcome the where do I live when I sell? The market is so high. These are great scripts. And you know what, Zoe? I never leave anybody homeless. So thank you for asking me that question. And there's lots of contingencies that I can build into your contract after we list your home and we find you the right buyer. So that buyer knows that you have to find suitable housing before you can close, but we can get you there. I never leave anybody homeless. But you see what I practiced that script. So when somebody asks me that, I know what to say. So go back through and practice your script. So when they ask you that question, you can rattle something off that makes sense to them, that brings value to them, that makes them feel comfortable. So we're going to start with our sphere of influence. And because if our goal is to get 10 contacts a day, which it's going to be, that's going to be your goal, those can be your best contacts. When you're getting your contacts, remember, it's a two-way conversation. Okay. So your sphere of influence are the people you have already met. They already know, trust, and respect you. Therefore, they are likely to be willing to help you. 6% of the people in your sphere of influence will be involved in a real estate transaction. 1,000 contacts at 6%. So if you have I don't know how many contacts you guys have. And if 1,000 seems like a big number, you're going to get there. But if you had 1,000 contacts at 6%, that's 60 transactions. So if your average commission were, you know, $10,000, you would be making a lot of money. So I'm sorry I came in late. Where can I find the script? Well, I just rattled that off. So the script practice, we're going to get more into scripts later on. Felicia, I hope I did. I hope I said that your name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. But we'll be talking more about scripts. But your sphere of influence so the contacts on your phone are a great place to start. If you're already on social media, that's a fantastic place to start. Wear your name tag when you go out. You're going to bump into people that you know already. I'm that strange, weird person. I love to go to the grocery store because that's where my sphere is. I have 3 children and a husband, and I entertain a lot. I'm at the grocery store a lot. I see my people there. So I don't do the drive-up service where they come out to the car. I'm at the grocery store at least 4 times a week because I want to see my people and I want them to see me. And if I have my name tag on, even if I haven't talked to them yet, I'm reminding them that I'm with Keller Williams. I'm a real estate agent. Then when I stop and say hi to them, they look down and they're like, oh, You know what? I was just talking about needing a lake house. Oh, my daughter's getting married. They're going to need something. What's the market looking like? Things like that will spark conversation. So get out into the marketplace and talk to your sphere. Is your sphere at a soccer field? Is your sphere at the gym? Is your sphere doing a walking trail? Is your sphere at the grocery store? Where is your sphere? Is your sphere at a market, at a networking event? What do you belong to? What do you participate in life at? Where you can be connecting with your sphere now at a higher level, where you're wanting to connect with them to let them know that you're in real estate. No? And how do you deal with, we aren't looking right now because the market is just too crazy? I get a lot of pushback with that, Mallory. Yeah, we do too. And you know what? This market isn't going to be like this forever, but we always want to offer value. So if you want to be in touch with what your market looks like today, and then in a few months, I can set you up with giving you constant reminders with what your market's looking at. And you know what a lot of people like? They like for me to set them up on an automatic listing cart where I'm letting them know what your market looks like through what other people are selling. And that will send you what's happening in the market right from the MLS every week. Would that add value to you? That might help you know when you're ready to jump in, and I'll be ready for you at that time. People love that. Now you're offering them value. You want your sphere to know, if they have, anyone says they want to know what the market's looking like, set them up on an automatic listing cart so that they're getting the market with your name on it automatically without you having done anything. But they think that you've done something. So you're kind of, now you're reminding them that you're working for them, even though you haven't had to do anything.
One of our favorite scripts is feel, felt, found. And you don't just make a phone call, say feel, felt, found, and then hang up. That's not going to work. But it's inserting feel, felt, found into whatever the pushback is or whatever the objection is, right? So for Mallory, if they're saying, yeah, it just seems really crazy right now. Hey, I appreciate that. And to Susan's point, you know, I understand how you feel. We've had a lot of clients that have felt the same way. And what we've found is that clients that keep an eye on a listing cart and continue to watch the market and educate themselves while on the sidelines, when they do become transactional, when they do decide that they are ready to move forward, our most educated buyers have the best transactional experience. So if I set up a listing cart after a brief conversation so I can find out more about the picket fences and the backyards that you're looking for, would that be a problem for you, Mr. Kenyon? And John wouldn't answer because Susan's in charge, and she'd be like, yes, it is. That would work, right? So without fail, I think if we start to use feel, felt, found, because what we're doing is we're to Susan's point too, like, you know, what are you currently near that you're not in? Like if it's hiking, mountain biking, I love that you brought up grocery store, right? Where do you meet your people? At the bakery. I love them, right? So like wherever your people are, feel, felt, found is going to work because it draws into the commonality that you have with them. And you're making them part of a group. I understand how you feel. You're telling them they feel heard and understood. Felt, right? We have other people that have felt the same way as you. So now there's a larger group. You're not alone. And together, what we found, there's been discovery in this group by taking this action. Would you like to be wicked smart like all of us? And more often than not, people are like, yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. It's a free listing cart. I get to keep an eye on the market, and it's going to make my transaction smoother and make me feel more educated moving forward. Absolutely. Sign me up. Awesome. Done. And they start to get it. And what that sometimes triggers, and I'm sure the Kenyon team has seen this, is they don't have enough of the down payment for their third house because he still has a boat that he doesn't use. And she's looking, and the house comes through that they talked to you about yesterday. And she's like, oh, Steven, there's the house we want. Sell that stupid boat, right? And boat owners know this, the best 2 days in your life are the day you buy it and the day you sell it, right? So they offset, create some more finances and buy it because they had knowledge of what was happening in the marketplace. And they're not coming in talking about 6 months ago, the Lindsays sold their house for X, because they know the prices have changed over the last 6 months because they're watching the market. And it's added value, and they get to feel part of a conversation, even if they're not. Because ultimately, Mallory, if they feel like the market's too crazy, their motivation probably isn't there. They don't truly have to move. People can be like, well, I want to jump into the market right now because we hear we can net so much. Yeah, and you're probably going to lose a leg too. Like, it's a battleground out there. So unless you really need to move, let's define motivation and success for you and your loved ones and decide what the next logical step is. That's our job.
Yeah.
It's not about
When you-
selling people stuff. It's about being a pathway for them to
It
success.
is, and you need to find out what their motivation is. The great thing about someone say we aren't looking to move right now because the market's too crazy. You know what they're telling you? We've thought about moving.
Yeah.
So yay, ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Well, if you were to move, if that did work out for you, where would you go? Oh, you'd go to North Carolina. What's in North Carolina? What's important to you? Well, what would your life look like if you were there by the fall? And if they're not ready, they're not ready. I mean, we don't want to push people into moving when they're not ready. We want to ask the right questions so that when they are ready, we're top of mind and that we're always bringing value to them. Barry, an automatic listing cart is you can set something up to your MLS where they're automatically getting, you put a contact in, you put parameters in around what they're looking for. And then every time a new property comes to the market within those parameters or a status change happens to drop something into that category, they'll automatically get notified with your name attached to that. So there will be training on your MLS for that and through your market center. Before we go to a break, I just want you guys to hear this quote. And I want you to hear it before we go to break so that maybe you'll think about it while we're on break. According to NAR, 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or used an agent they had worked with before. 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or used an agent they had worked with before. So if your friends, neighbors, and relatives don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be in that 66 or 41%. Okay. You guys ready for a break? Okay. It's 10:16. Is 10 minutes long enough?
I would think so.
10 minutes. Okay. So 10:26, we'll come back. And I'm only giving you 10 because I know that I am a long talker and we have more to get through. 10:26.
10:26.
Ready. See you then.
I'm a camel, so I'm going to hang out. If you guys got questions, comments, concerns, we can certainly take your questions during the break if you want, if you got anything.
Jim?
Dr. Trevor Grist.
Hey.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are
For
you?
anybody that doesn't know, a repeat offender. He's taking Ignite more than once. He must be really not smart.
Yeah.
Or he's back to learn more because he's not perfect. I'll let you decide.
It's making a little more sense now.
Yes. I think round one for you, your face was smashed up against the windshield. You were crying. You might have shed some blood. I don't know.
And I missed, I think, the first like 8 or 10 on live. I was just watching them on the YouTube, which wasn't the same.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Go ahead. What do you got?
I had a question. So I reached out to a kind of like a friend through my kid's sports, and I found out he's an investor. So I approached him and I just said, hey, I heard you like to invest. Would you like to go to one of our meet and greets where you can meet other, realtors and lawyers and bankers and things? And
sure.
He said, well, actually right now I'm working on relocating. And then he began to kind of brag a little bit, saying, oh, I just bought a golf course in North Carolina. I'm going to put up a 50 to 60 unit apartment building down there, probably, or maybe a storage unit. I sold 5 of them. He has like 30 rentals, and he just sold 5 of them. And I was like, oh.
He just bought a golf course? Is he single? I'm asking for a friend.
No, he's not. Yeah, I said, oh, that's amazing. I said, you're doing great. Can you take me and my kids with you?
Yeah.
So obviously, and then I said, well, if you need help finding anybody down there, let me know. And he goes, I've already made some connections. Things are moving and grooving down there already. And I said, that's great. You're doing awesome. Obviously, you're way ahead of me. But now I'm thinking, geez, maybe I could approach him and say, hey, I'd like to take you out sometime and pick your brain. Maybe you could probably teach me something about investing, or who do you know that I should know? Something like that.
Yep.
I think that's kind of a good way to word it.
I think this is wildly important because I think this is where people fall flat. My fear is your friend has made some connections in some other states, and this is what normally happens. And we just have to change our thinking around this. If I'm looking to help Trevor invest or buy or do anything remotely in another state, A lot of agents would be like, well, I'm going to team him up with John Q. Citizen. He's a great agent. He works with a lot of buyers in Texas. I don't want the agent that works with a lot of buyers in Texas. I want the agent who has the listings, right? If I'm sending somebody down to consume a commodity in my industry, I want the person down there with the inventory, right? You guys will hear all of my analogies. If you're from Market Center 463, you've already heard this. I think Trevor heard it last time. Nobody on this call is looking for more bear claws. I mean, for more fat kids. We're looking for bear claws, right? The analogy of bear claws and fat kids. We don't need more buyers. Does anybody on this call need another buyer in their life? And I'm asking, even if you just landed and your license is brand new and it still smells like a new car, and you're like, well, I want my first client, Timmy. I want to sign my first piece of business. The best way to get your first piece of business is with listings, right? Always be listing driven. Even if you're a buyer's agent and that's your designation on your team, you should be looking for listings for your team at all times, servicing buyers that come into the environment. So I think homework for you, Trevor, is where's the next logical transaction for him remotely, and start to connect with people in those states, right? So, and I think this is a great homework assignment for everyone on this call. We could all be better, because I don't think there's anyone on this call, myself included, that has all 50 states covered. Go through the homework assignment of making sure that you track down a great listing agent. And I would argue, you could say great agent, but a great listing agent in every state. Now you could say, well, okay, Timmy, you're talking about like California. That's a big state. I need more than one person. Well, no, I need to find Trevor in San Diego. Because if Trevor's the rock star in San Diego, guess who Trevor knows? The rock star in Big Bear, the rock star in LA, right? You're going to know all the other rock stars because you're sending referral business up and down the state because it's a huge state. That way, with integrity, you could say to your friend, Steve, I'm just making up names right now to protect the innocent. You could say to your friend, although I want his real name since he bought a golf course. You could say to your friend, Steve, hey, I've got an awesome connection in South Carolina. And he does a lot of investments with properties that are getting developed into golf courses, which I don't think they have any room for those down in South Carolina. God bless them. But, I want the person who's going to get him closer to his end game. I'm thinking he might be working with people who work with a lot of buyers. Or I send all my investors down to Ted. But what does Ted do? Well, he works with a lot of investors. Does he have an inventory of investment properties? Right. So I think you find the heavy hitter in each state and then ask them, hey, who's the most influential commercial agent in your state? On your board? Maybe they're on their team. Maybe it's them. But that's what I would find out. Right. Because I can introduce all of my friends to basketball players. If you can introduce me to Jordan, that's the coolest of all, right?
So Tim, let me ask you this. What's the easiest way to go about that? Because yesterday I had to find an agent for my cousin and my aunt who are selling a condo in South Carolina.
Yep.
I went online, I typed in Keller Williams of that area, found the closest branch, called the office,
yep,
asked for somebody that could help me with this, and they gave me somebody. So, but how do I find that person that you're talking about?
Here's how I would circumvent that. Now, here's the thing. In integrity, if you call, if your friends are looking for Charleston, South Carolina, and you find the phone number and you get a hold of the TL or the productivity coach at the Charleston Market Center, my only concern there is they might be giving you the name off the top of their heart, right? The person they really love, or the person they feel emotionally, not know, but feel is the best agent for it. What I would do, and this is part of that homework process, go into Command, there I said it, go into the referral network, and you can see migration patterns, right? So if I can see the cities and towns in South Carolina that are migrating to New England the most. Above and beyond that, outside of migration patterns, you could look in South Carolina and start to drill down on towns and streets, and you see all these little dots. I click on a dot and it says Trevor Grist, and I can go over and see, and I can sort by market center. I can sort by area, by who has the most volume sold, the most buyers helped, the most listings sold, the largest inventory. And that's how I can drill down with real metrics on who the best person is. And I say this with love, and everybody does it. We have so many referral Facebook pages that make me want to eat my face and jump out of a first floor window. When Gary has built the tool for us to look into this information with real metrics, because somebody is the oversight. Somebody is the owner of that referral page, and they may be controlling the conversation. And I'm not saying people are being disingenuous, but more often than not, if I do go on one of those pages and say, hey, I need a rock star, I mean, I'll go off the top of my head, in North Conway, New Hampshire. I can tell you right now, you're probably looking at Teresa Bernhardt might come to the top of the page, and she's a phenomenal agent, but she doesn't spend a lot of time on Facebook. So she's going to get punished for that because she's not on Facebook waiting for more business to show up, when I could actually go to the metrics and see that she is the rock star. And then obviously have a conversation and make sure that we butter each other's bread and it makes sense. And I also know that she would connect well with my client. But the referral page through Command is going to be the fastest way to get real metrics in the last 12 months.
Thank you. I
Not
thought
how
there was a
somebody
way to.
feels about somebody's business, but
Yeah,
what it
I
actually
thought there was a way to do that. I thought that's what you had said before. And when I was asking around yesterday, they're like, no, just go online and find an office and call. So
No, that piece, I have to back Tim up 100% on that. We've used that probably 3 times in the last 30 days.
Yep.
And it is the best way to get a great agent for your person. And call them, like Tim said, before you just send them the information. Call that agent and make sure that they're going to be a good fit. But that is a fantastic way to find the right KW agent.
thank you. I'm going to check it out.
Call 2 or 3 and get their responsiveness. Get a sense of who they are, right?
Okay.
And then above and beyond that, and here's the thing: it sounds like, well, you're not giving the new agent a chance, or you're not giving the buyer's agent a chance. Well, it stands to reason. If I get a hold of Susan Kenyon, she may be putting me in touch with an agent who will help my buyer when they get there. Yet she is also the mayor of town because her and John have the most listings. I want to put my people with the mayor of that town, and also make sure there's a commonality and we're all on the same page, right? But people do business with people they like. It's very rare. Normally, when somebody is villainizing an agent, they're in the industry. The civilians love the agent, right? The agents in the industry are villainizing. They say, "Oh, he or she gets all the listings. They're a terrible person." Really? Really? Because everybody in our industry gets paid with the commensurate amount in connection with the amount of people that you help. Dr. Evil is not a great real estate agent. He's got his finger to his mouth with sharks and lasers, right? Most people with a ton of listings are connected to their neighborhoods, are connected to their towns, and they're crushing it because they are helping people on a regular basis.
Lindsay,
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
could I just verify before going on with the rest of the day that I am the friend that you mentioned for the golf course investor? I need to know this.
No. I was gonna have a difficult conversation with my wife Janina if Trevor's friend is here. Yeah.
Okay, just needed to verify
Don't
that.
judge.
Thanks.
Don't judge.
Thanks, I am. I
Love is love,
definitely am.
Doyle. Love is love.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Love you.
Awesome. All right. I gave you guys an extra minute. You guys ready to get going?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This next slide is really fantastic, and it's the wave. Okay. So what we love about this is it really talks to you about, where you should be talking to your people. The average person moves every 8 to 10, 3 to 7, every 8 to 10 years. But right after a move, the likelihood that they will want to move again is at its lowest point. So this first circle at the top, let me see if I can put right here. That's the day that somebody buys or sells. Okay? And the purpose of the display of this wave is, how well do you know your people? If you are a secret agent, it's no good. Everyone has to know what you do, and you have to know where your people are. So the goal here is that you can plot your people on this chart. The second circle down here is the day after they buy or sell, right? So that's the least likely time that they are going to transact. So this spot in between here, it could be, I think right now it's 3 to 7 years. This is a 3 to 7 year potential time period. So we need to be in touch with our people all along this curve here, right? We're staying in touch with them. This is where we do not want to be a secret agent, because something could happen anywhere along this line here that's going to cause them to come back to the top where they're ready to transact again.
Well, Sue, and if you notice, there's actually the hash marks. If you count them, if you squint and count them, if you're struggling with your eyesight, it's 7.
Yep.
The golden rule is we have to tell everyone in our life that we're in real estate 7 times before they forget. Right? Why do we have to tell them that many times? Because said with love, they don't really care. Our business
Yeah.
is not their business, right? Until we invite them into it.
Yeah. Do you remember a couple slides ago, I gave you the statistics of, people buy or sell with people that they know that are right in front of them, right? So if you're not able to plot anyone on this chart, the trouble is you don't know where to be with them, and you won't be able to be at the right place at the right time. And a lot of this business, it's not rocket science. We're not nuclear engineers. We have to know and always be at the right place at the right time, making sure that our people know what we do, making sure that we're adding value, so that as they're climbing up this wave back to the top, who do they think of? We want it to be us, right? So if you want to feel in control of how much income you make in 2021, the more people you can plot on this wave, the more in control you will be. And you know that you get that. You're able to plot people when you ask the right questions, when you have two-way conversations with people about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, right? So if I just call up, my friend D, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm not talking about real estate. I'm not asking, how's remote working going? Are you ever going to have to go back in the office? Well, what does that do for your living situation? Do you still love living in Dover? I know you used to talk about wanting to be up in the mountains. Does that make any sense for you right now? Does your family talk about that? I'm asked to have to ask those leading questions to find out, where am I going to plot these people? And then I'm going to document that in command, right? I'm going to have them on a plan so that I'm consistently touching base with them and talking about the things that we had talked about before. So I know when they start moving along this wave and as they're going to be getting closer to here. Now, I'm not doing this because I'm greedy. I am in sales, but I want to offer value. I want to be in front of these people. They're my people. I want to be able to help them. I want them to know that they can come to me. So ask them. So I would encourage you guys, think of 5 to 7 people right now that you could plot on this wave. Call them. Those are the people that you call, and you start asking those leading questions when you're trying to make those 10 contacts a day. So how many of you are moving in 30 days? You have to stay in touch and on top of mind. So when they are ready, they think of you. Is there anybody in your life that you know is thinking of doing something in 30 days? Are you asking your friends and your family in your sphere, hey, do you know anybody that's been talking about moving or having a need for different housing in their life? When you go out to dinner, when you're socializing, practice ways to bring that up in conversation so that you're being on purpose about finding people to plot on this wave. And things that will give you clues as to where to plot them is to ask them about life events, because life events is what causes people to move. Are they getting married? Have they just got married? Are they getting divorced? Do they have kids? Are they going to have kids? Are their kids getting old? Are they empty nesters like me? Do they have aging parents? So when you ask life event questions to your people, that will give you clues as to where to plot them on this line. If you don't do that, if you don't stay in touch with your people and ask them these questions, then you have a hope and wish strategy where I hope I am in the right place at the right time. I wish for success. That's not a good strategy. Hoping and wishing, hoping and praying is not a strategy. You have to be on purpose about it. You know what happens when you're not on purpose about it? Where you're being a secret agent, where I'm sitting here at 15 Horn Street in Dover, New Hampshire with my real estate license, and I'm not letting my people know that I can help them, that I'm here to serve. I go on Facebook and find out that they list or buy with somebody else. Let me tell you, that is not a good feeling. I know, because I'm told you I would be honest and transparent, and that's happened to me. So don't let that happen to me, because they will go to somebody. We're not changing the need in their life. We're changing who is top of mind for transacting when they have a need in their life. So I challenge you, how do I stay in touch? How do you know your people? Where on their life journey are your people? And when they start heating up on some of these life events, that's when you heat up with value and think of ways that you can add value to their life. Being the source of the source for people is an awesome way to be of value. When people are like, oh my goodness, I'm thinking of renovating my bathroom, but I don't have a plumber. Then you best be getting off the phone and finding some plumbers for them to call. Add value. Or, you know what? Everyone's getting pets with this whole COVID thing. That like lots of people are getting pets. Those are people love talking about their pets. Do they need a pet fence? Do they need a groomer? Be the source of the source for anything that you can possibly be, so that when they have especially real estate needs or home maintenance needs, so that when they have a question or they're out to dinner with someone and they're like, and their friend is saying, I'm going to renovate my kitchen, I want them to say, you know what? Susan Kenyon always has recommendations for me when I'm looking to renovate. Let me call her. Now I have a new connection. I have a new person to add to my database that I put in command and I talk to frequently. And I plot them on this line and I ask them questions like, hey, I gave you Jeff Hatch to do some maintenance, do some renovations. How's he working out? Fantastic. He's halfway done. What else is going on in your life? How are the kids doing? Now I can plot them on this line and I have another person to put on the wave, so that I can now be in the right place at the right time when that new contact is ready to transact. And I don't have a hope and wish method. I actually have a plan. So the wave is a good way to lead your conversation by asking life event questions, which we're going to talk more about in Ignite. Like, how do I bring up those conversations? We'll be talking about that. So when we talk about that later, this is where you have those conversations. You plot them, because we need to ask leading questions to find out where are they going to be, when are they going to be transacting next. Does that make sense with anybody? Pick a couple of life event questions and ask that question on every call that you make until it comes out so smoothly that you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, Susan, you talked about like having the plumber or not having the plumber. If you don't have, like, if you're thinking right now, I don't have a plumber, I don't have a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, then we're going to start to have those conversations. Like, if there's certain allied resources, you've got your person, then you're just going to have that clarifying phone call with them and be like, hey, Susan, it's Timmy. I know that we spoke and you know, I have my license. What I'm looking for is an opportunity to send my people that move to town. If somebody moves to the Lakes region or to the Seacoast from the West Coast, they're going to be looking for hairstylist, barber, steak tips, cupcakes, all the things, right? And you are my landscaper. Would it be a problem if I sent my clients to your business? No, of course not, Tim. Awesome. What's the best way for them to connect with you? Right? I'm reminding her that I'm sending her my people. And if there's warm blood in her veins and she's going to be reciprocating, she's probably going to say, hey, how can we help you guys out? You know what? Hey, the next time that you and John are standing in the front yard asking people why they're trimming their bushes and edging their lawn, and they're saying, well, we're getting it ready to list, I would like to be one of the 3 people they talk to sell their home. Quite honestly, the only person they talk to sell their home. But that's, right? Because you're not going to be the only real estate agent in this landscaper's life. But we want to make sure that we're building those relationships. And if you don't, the other way to get the list, like if you don't have your cupcake person, everybody should. If you don't, then you just do a social media poll and basically say, hey, for anybody who lives in these towns, where's the bakery to go to, right? What's your favorite bakery? Because then you can call and be edified and say, hey, Trevor, it's Timmy. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and I was talking to all of my clients, asking what their favorite bakery is. And you were top of mind with so many people. So would it be okay if I added you to my allied resource list if people are new to town and they're looking for a place to get cakes or cupcakes or whatever? That seems like a lot of work. That seems unnecessary. Nope. Because when somebody's looking for a bakery, I want somebody in a moment's notice.
Yep,
be the source of the
absolutely.
source.
Be the source of the source. And we're offering value all the time, right? How would you feel if your friends only called you if they wanted something from you? Would you feel like they cared about you? So remember, we're in this business because we care about people. We want to impact people's lives in a positive way. I want to help them. I want them to know that if they need something, I'm here for them, not only when they're ready to buy or sell or invest in real estate. When I show them how much I care about them as a whole person and their whole life and their family's life, and I'm reminding them that I'm in real estate, they will call me when they have that need if I'm doing my job correctly. And I'm doing my job because I care. Okay. So give that a try this week, you guys, because we really are going to ask you guys to get an appointment within the at least one appointment within the next 2 weeks. If you ask these questions, that will lead you closer to getting an appointment, because they're going to say, oh, well, we were thinking in 6 months. Cut that in half. That's probably 3 months. This is probably a good time for us to sit down and just look at what you're trying to do. I'm available tomorrow at 2 or Friday at 4. What works for you? Get the appointment and just get in front of someone and talk about what their wants and needs are.
Such a great point when people throw out timelines. Mentally cut it in half. Don't be like, oh, you're lying. It's going to be 3. When should we get together? They're going to be like, oh, he's already telling me I'm a liar. This ought to be a great professional relationship, right? But just get in their heads and be like, and this is one of the best objection handlers. It's Ben Kinney's team uses this all the time for everything. Yeah, we were gonna sell our house, and the heat wave came and our air conditioner broke, and we've decided that we need to fix that first. That's exactly that. And you could say this for every objection. That's exactly why we should get together, Susan. Right? Because we're going to start to build a plan. Well, we're not sure if we should move. That's exactly why we should get together. We're afraid there's not enough blue houses available on the marketplace. That's exactly why we should get together.
Yeah.
Because we can buy a white one and paint it blue, right? But we want to sit with them and start to build a plan and be their allied resource to develop a success plan for them and their loved ones.
Yeah, because if they say 6 months and you're reaching back out to them at 5.5 months, I would have already snooped in there and got that up from you. I would have heard that they're moving in 6 months, and I would have started at 2 and 3 months in meeting with them. And then when they were ready, they would be like, I'm already talking to Susan.
Well, it's the analogy of high school. You walk into the first day of your senior year and you see the cute boy or the cute girl. You're like, I want to take them to prom. And then you wait the entire school year to take them. I'm going to invite them the week before the prom. Guess what? She's already dating somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like taken, gone, right? Like we want to be in relationship with them. And to Susan's point, cupcakes and landscapers and painters and general contractors, all those other life events allow us to be part of their conversation for more than just every 3 to 6 years. Because unless you're picking Powerball numbers, like, I call myself Nostradamus all the time. Like, unless you're wicked smart and you can predict the future, you're not going to know exactly when Kai is going to sell, when David's going to sell, when Linda's going to sell. But if I'm involved in all these other conversations and delivering value 364 days of the year, on the 365th, God willing, I'll be top of mind. That's the video game we play.
Yep. Come from contribution. And I'm doing these things because I really do truly care. I want what's best for them. I know that the more I learn and know about them, the more I'm going to be able to impact them. I'm going to think of things that they're not thinking of to help them. They don't realize that they're going to have to book movers far in advance, or, there's 1,000 other things that they might not have thought about, where the more you're in communication with them, the more you can plot them on this line, the more you can start helping them set up a great plan for when they do move, and giving them options that they might not have thought about, or making more money on their home, or spending less money on their next home that they're going to purchase. So, how are we going to talk to them to find that out? We have a great method for you. It's called FORD, Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. So when you're outlining your calls, that 1 hour of lead gen should be, I am ready to sit down and pick up the phone and start dialing. This doesn't mean I have to prepare who I'm going to call. I have to think about what I'm going to say. That one concentrated hour of two-way communication is a full hour. But you have this FORD script where you can talk about family. How is your family? Do they have small children? Do they have adult children? Do they have children with needs? Are they just starting a family and they just got pregnant? What does their family look like? Ask them about their family. People love to talk about their family. So it's like the 5 to 7 people on the wave line, that should be your first calls. This is how you find out the life events. And the script is really just being you, right? Because we care about them. We want to know about their family. Okay? Their occupation. Occupation, occupations are milestones for a lot of people. Occupations are changing. Right now is the easiest time to talk about people's occupation because are you Zooming? Have you been working remotely? How's that going for you? Do you have space in your house? How are you how are your kids remote learning and you and your spouse are remote working? And how's, is your house able to support that? Is that going to change going into the future? When are you going to go back into an office space? Oh, you're not going back into an office space? How are you going to be doing anything to your home to help make that office space more productive for you? What's the best part about your home office space? What's the worst part about your home office space? Occupation right now is the easiest thing to talk about. And it's so simple and so easy. It's like, hey, Tim, I haven't talked to you in a very long time. I was just thinking about you. How's everything going? What's happening with your job at Liberty?
Yes,
guys going back
our
to the
favorite,
office?
Liberty Mutual. Yes, because
I'm a
everybody
Liberty
in New
girl.
Hampshire works at Liberty Mutual. Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, people, how easy is that script? I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Such a great point too, Susan. When you clear the family conversation, and again, if it's been a while, and we're going to invite you to make those 7-year phone calls. You've got people in your phone you haven't talked to since the Truman administration. They're there for a reason, right? I think one of the discoveries of Facebook is you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen Taryn Davy since high school. And then you call her and you're like, oh, that's why we didn't talk. I hate her. Like you remember that you didn't like her, but you still had her phone. And I wouldn't even, the French term for get rid of, delete, I wouldn't even delete her because maybe she has people in her life at Liberty Mutual that have corner offices and discretionary income that are going to buy a lake house from you, right? So it's about building that sphere with people of influence. So Taryn might not be a financial wealth determiner for you in the future. Her circle is. And I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I'm not. So that being said, making sure that we're having those conversations. And if we're going 7 deep, Susan and John might not know about, my second child, they do, but they might not if it's been a while. I don't know that all of Susan's family is deployed, which is usually the case because the whole family's Marines, except for John. That being said, then when it gets to work, and this is my contention, and it starts today, I think the 3rd and 4th quarter in our country, we're going to see a lot of movement in employment. I think a lot of people, it's like that scene where Dorothy kicks the door open and everything's suddenly in like multicolor on The Wizard of Oz. I think a lot of people are going to come out. They've been vaccinated. We're mask free in a lot of parts of the country, and people are realizing in the last year when they were working from home, if they are still working from home, that they don't love the way their company treated them. So asking about family and occupation, maybe Liberty Mutual, I'm hanging on by a thread, but I do hate it. And I've got some friends over there. I think they're not going back till like October now. I don't even know. I've lost track.
Yeah.
That being said, if you're sick of working from home and you're seeing that our industry, real estate, really has been one of the most powerful industries in the country in the last 16 months, maybe they're thinking about switching industries. And we need to be open to that conversation too, right? I call the BLT. It's always food related with me. Buyers, listings, and talent, right? So we're looking for somebody to list a house, buy a house, or join our industry, right? And you're thinking, well, there's a lot of people doing real estate. Do we need more? Yes.
Yeah.
Because you've got buyers without a home to buy because somebody didn't list the house. So we need more talented people to list more homes.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. There's plenty of business. I mean, I know there's a lot of agents out there, but there's plenty of business for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people with licenses that will never do a lot of business. So I don't even think about that when I'm out talking to people. I'm focused on the person that I'm communicating with and myself and how can I serve them.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice as we keep talking about the Ford script, these are not about real estate. The purpose here is that we're showing people that we care about them. So we don't immediately jump into real estate.
Mm.
And we're not tricking them. We're coming from authenticity. We're coming from a heart full of contribution. And we're showing that we care about people. Okay. So one of the things that I find really helpful for me, and maybe it will for you too, before I call people, I say out loud to myself, and I am that person in the office. I say things out loud. I actually sing out loud by accident because I have my headphones in all the time and I don't realize I'm singing out loud. But people want to talk to me, and I always come from abundance. I help people make great decisions. So your goal is an appointment within 2 weeks. So before you start making your calls, maybe you should be telling yourself, I will have an appointment. I'm going to set an appointment today.
Stuart Smalley, right? I'm good enough and smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me, right? And the funny thing is, people, like, I know there's people on this call right now, and they're like, oh, affirmations seem like really altruistic and airy fairy, as Gary would say. Like, I don't know if I believe in that. You need to take action after you affirm yourself, but we'll make fun of affirmations, but we will always affirm the negative. Let me explain. You're walking down the hallway in your market center and you sneeze, God forbid, because then you immediately have to scream that you're fully vaccinated or you get arrested, right? So you sneeze and somebody says, God bless you. And you're like, thank you. And like, are you getting a cold? You're like, I am getting a cold. You go back into your office, you're sitting down like, am I dying? Like, we'll start to go so dark and deep with a sneeze and somebody asking you a question. We will affirm the negative. There's no reason that you can't put what Susan just said. And, you know, this sounds goofy. I don't want to laminate something and hang it in my shower. Then don't, if it doesn't work for you. But putting it next to your vanity mirror or whatever, just some affirmations, right? And one of the ones I call the fourth gospel of Keller Williams. I think the Red Book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, is a powerful book. I think Ship's a powerful book, and we'll talk about all these throughout the month. The One Thing is a powerful book. And for me, the fourth gospel of Keller Williams, written by Michael Mayer, not John's dad, Maher, is The 7 Levels of Communication. He's a Keller Williams agent, a phenomenal teacher. If you find him online, he's got some great stuff. And the mantra in his book, which is a great affirmation, is today, somewhere in Dover, New Hampshire, someone is looking for help, and it's Susan Kenyon's job to find them. That's it. That's the video game of what we're doing. Can you have enough conversations today where the opportunity to ask for help in and around your business comes up and you can find your person, one person, not 8 million. Well, I want to do 50 deals this year. I need to find 50 people. Yep. Over the next 52 weeks. Today, your job is to find your person. Who's your person? I don't know. Well, then we better get on the phone, or we better go shake babies and kiss hands. I say that wrong on purpose to make sure you're listening. We better do that until we find our person, right? That's it. One person today. Are you willing to have enough conversations where it comes up? And when you get to business, to Susan's point, they're going to ask. They're either going to ask about Liberty Mutual, which you have to start to explain to them you're now licensed to kill with real estate, or they're going to say, how's Keller Williams? I heard the industry's crazy. And they're usually hearing that on the national news. So we have to bring them back down to a local conversation and answer their question and square our shoulders. And if there's a question that we don't know the answer to, Susan, we don't say, I don't know, I'll find out. We say, great question, Susan, I'll look into that for you. Can we reconnect tomorrow at 3 or Friday at 5?
Hey,
Wow,
you know,
Susan
there's
and
nothing wrong with finding a way to get back in touch with people. Dang, that's awesome.
Yep.
Right? But it is important. You need to lead the conversation. You know,
Right.
people grow into the conversations that we have around them. And when we ask these funneling questions, it will funnel them to, you know, a residential real estate move eventually. How's your life? How's your family? How's your job going? Recreation. People, it's 4th of July weekend. If you can't call people right now before we hit Saturday, you should have plenty of people to call and say, hey, the holiday weekend's coming up. What are you guys doing? Are you guys doing any staycations this year? How's that looking? Does your job allow you to move so that if you wanted to do lots of staycations closer to Disney, that would work better for you? Something will pop up if you ask about vacations, and it's 4th of July weekend coming up. Great opportunity to just call people and tell them that you care. And it starts as simple as, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, and I was just thinking about you. How are you? What are you doing for the holiday weekend? Then listen, right? Let them talk and then listen, and it will go back and forth, and then bring up another one of the Ford scripts. Okay? Dreams. Dreams can connect all of us, right? We all have a different dream. Are you dreaming of a second home? Are you dreaming of downsizing? Are you dreaming of having grandchildren? Ask funneling, leading questions to show them that you care. Document it in add those people to your database in Command or whatever database you're using, if whatever it is, just please, please, please be using something. You think you're going to remember to call them back in a week or 3 weeks or whatever, and you won't. You'll get busy. And we call that lead dying on the vine. It all happens to all of us. Do not let your leads die on the vine. You have to have a system for getting back in touch with them. And then you document what you talked about. So if they had talked about, their job and Zooming and not enough space for remote learning and home offices, then you document that so that you can bring that up the next time and ask how it's going and follow up with them. So what fears or hesitations do you guys have about calling your sphere? Does anybody have any of those that they're brave enough to share?
First class ever, no fears. Love it. Oh, there we go. Trevor Gross. Go ahead.
Whew. Thank you.
Okay, so I've been, calling my sphere, and I found calling family has been hard. Literally like banging my head on the wall. So they don't want to tell you anything. They act like you're trying to spy on them or whatever. I don't know. So I said, all right, changing gears here. I'm going to my prior clients because they know about, we have a business relationship, and all the calls have been great. I've got a couple in the line right now. I've got a guy that I'm going to meet, possibly be my first listing. It's a business and 2 homes on the property. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get through those. It's giving me a lot of practice, and then I'm going to go back to family and see how it goes.
Absolutely. Thanks for being transparent and sharing. I appreciate that. And family can be the hardest. And it doesn't even have to start off with asking them for direct business. It's just, hey, did you know that I started a real estate career? And see
I
where the
have to say-
conversation goes from there, but you have to let them know that you're there.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, I totally agree. Talking to family is the hardest. They, same thing. I don't sure what is the big issue there. It is really challenging. I don't think that they feel that I'm believable. I mean, even when I've told them that, I listed a house, I've had, 3 closings, it's, they don't ask questions. I try to ask them questions, and it's really discouraging, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'd rather talk to complete strangers than my own family.
Sometimes with family, if you're asking them to help you, it can also come from, because I think that family most of the time wants to help, even if they don't have a need. But let them help you in other ways where you are still reminding them that you're doing real estate. Like when we talked about offering to run some comps on their house. Have you thought about what your
Tried
house
it.
might be worth? Yeah. Well, then try the next person. Every no gets you closer to a yes. And it is hard to hear no, but we get used to that. And every no gets you closer to a yes.
And
And
if I
then-
can just throw out like to challenge everyone's thinking, and I'm really big on semantics, Nina, so I'm going to go there. You said family's the hardest. So just change that to my family is my greatest opportunity for growth.
Oh, that's a
And
good one.
just look at it differently. I mean, and this is where I'm always using analogies, and it's always food. If
I
you
think-
opened a restaurant tomorrow, how many people would come and eat to support you? Barring that the food didn't suck. I mean, if you opened a restaurant tomorrow, would your friends line up to come support you? Right. So if that's the case, it's the same thing. But the other thing you have to ask yourself, and this is an honest question for everybody, if you're the guy or the girl that was doing doTERRA 3 months ago, and then doing I'm trying to think of the bead company. What's the bead company? Was it? I can't even think of it. But if you've sold everything once and you've done a lot of multi-level marketing, and now you're back with real estate, which isn't multi-level marketing, if this just feels like an iteration of sales calls, and this is just the next one, then obviously it might take longer to wear away at that stone and get to the heart of the matter. I think at the same time, to Susan's point, I'm not calling my mom and saying, hey, Cheryl, it's Tim, your son. Are we moving today? Like she'll never take my call again. I remember way back when I got started, I put her on some campaign and I didn't really give her a heads up, my fault. And And I got the Timothy, are you drinking? Like, what is this email that I got? I'm not looking. Like, she was like all worked up, right? So we can ruin really immediate relationships. And at the same time, just change the approach, Nina. I would go back to your sphere, have those conversations, and again, come from contribution. When somebody asks about Keller Williams, I'm really glad you asked. You know what I've done for a few other people is an unsolicited CMA. Let me explain what that looks like. And then you talk about the process of what you're going to do for them to show them where they stand in the marketplace. And a great point too, and Susan and I haven't really touched on it yet. As we talk about all these tools, there's universal stuff that we all have as Keller Williams agents. Do not forget, we are having a 6-state conversation right now. So we're always going to invite you with the legal talk to go back to your local leadership and find out what the best resource is for your market center in your state. We'll talk about command stuff, but everything else from a legal standpoint, please interact with your local leadership to find out what you should be looking for certain tools or certain process.
And remember, you're trying to plot them on that wave. Your family and friends might not be ready for a move, but you can still find out their life events to plot them on that wave. And you should also have your family and friends on your social media. So you're offering value through social media. And we're going to talk about social media real quickly. You know, you've lost the right to use social media the way that all your friends and family have.
Amen.
And you just have to get over that. And I'm saying this with a husband who really struggles with this. So I get it. You know, your social media is to offer value. It's not to show, you know, it's not a reason to give people to disagree with you. So I really encourage you not to be political on your social media. If you want to talk politics, go bowling with your friends.
Talk to your cat.
Talk to, you know, have a barbecue with your friends that you talk to that stuff about. Use social media as a tool where you're putting stuff that offers value on your social media, and it could be home maintenance things. It could, and then you mix it in with an open house something, or a post about some great buyers, or something funny that you see at a showing or at a property. Something beautiful that you see at a property, and make a post about that where you're sprinkling in your real estate life with your social media, so that you're touching your family and friends that way as well. So you're calling them and you're having life event conversations with them and plotting them on that chart, right? And somebody's and you're logging that in your database, and somebody is saying, what's a good database to use? Cage, you have Command, which is a database. So go back to your market center and find out who your tech trainer is, and start building time in your day after your lead gen to learn about Command and how to use that on a database and set people up for recurring conversations to do that. And then what we're doing is we're sprinkling in other ways to communicate with them to remind them that we're in real estate. So if you're touching your sphere, you're calling them and you're having a forward conversation with them, and then you're adding them to your database, and then you're going to your social media and making sure that you're connected there. Now you offer value that is constantly reminding them in a value added way that you're in real estate. You are letting them know. You are offering value, and then you'll start increasing them wanting to reach out to you, or them taking your call, because they're seeing you as more than just a phone call asking if you have have business to transact. I'm sorry, you have your hand up. Go ahead. Trist?
Oh, okay. So
I'm sorry, Trevor.
yes.
I like Tristan Grever. We're going to go
Tristan
with that.
Grever. I make up
Tristan
names.
Grever.
I make up words all the time.
So what I wanted to say about the social media is this, and I completely agree, and I'm getting used to it. I've never been that big with it. I had a Facebook account. I didn't use it much. You know, I never really posted anything. I think men probably struggle with this more than women. But now that I'm getting used to it, I'm realizing that, yes, like you said, it doesn't have to be really work related. You can tie it in. But I'm starting to post things with me and my kids, things that we're doing. And I think people are starting to warm up more and realize that I am just a fun, good guy, and that, you know, I'm not trying to trick them into anything. Like this morning, I'm on the way to work, my radio dies. I have to have my music in the morning. Fortunately, I had this headset. I put it on and I was able to crank my music all the way to work still. So I made a little post and said, on the way to the Keller Williams office, my radio died, but good thing I have my headset, with a big smile. And, everybody's posting about it and making comments saying I stole this from my last work and things like that. Anyway, do it, because it helps, and you'll make it easier to communicate with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Go
have a
ahead.
quick question about some of the social stuff, Sue, and you're probably the perfect person to ask. Like, in an open house, like last weekend, what's it's touch and go, because like I wanted to do kind of the live stream things. People like, oh wow, he's in the house. I don't want to show anyone's anything, because I wouldn't want someone showing any of mine at all. Now, is that something, of course, when it's your own listing, it's kind of more like, you speak with them. Hey, can I put this out? Wow, this is a great sunroom. Can I take a picture of it for my Facebook or whatever? How does that stuff go? Like with the Instagram thing and the Facebook Live and story thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Anthony. And so if it's my open house, I already, so now we're going to start, I'm going to try to be as general as possible, because I know New Hampshire and Maine contracts and what I'm allowed to do with my listings, and I don't know the other states. So if I have a piece built into my listing agreement where they know that there's going to be photography and there's going to be advertising and stuff like that they've already agreed to, then I know what my parameters are. So if you're hosting it, then you would want to ask the listing agent what you're able to do. And if they don't want you to be doing anything inside the home, then you can do something outside the home. A quick outside the home open house Facebook Live is great, because Facebook loves video. So I would adhere to whatever the listing agreement says. What is the terminology in regards to advertising that you have built into your listing agreement? And then do it that way. And if you're hosting for somebody else, you just want to be touching base with what they are wanting you to do.
Yeah, and just PSA for everything you're going to hear all month, and I certainly can speak for myself and Susan. We are not here to tell you how to run your business. We're here to offer best practices. When we were talking earlier, and we've touched on the fact with your personal Facebook page as opposed to your business page, leaning away from politics. Like, listen, if you're big in politics, you're the mayor, and I say that whether you really are the mayor or you're just really heavy in politics in your town, and everyone knows you are red or blue, then maybe you're going to lean into that conversation. You have to make peace with the fact that you're going to sell all the red houses or all the blue houses, right? And you got to be okay with that. So we're just offering it up as a best practice. We're not telling anybody to step away from their politics or their morals. Just understand that if you start to outwardly behave that way on social media, you are going to create a rift in your business for sure, because it's such a polarizing subject for everyone. So that's why we throw that out. Above and beyond that, if you're a member of the Young Republicans Club or the Old Democrats Club, then be the straw in that drink and stir it, right? And lean into that conversation. I'm going to tell you what we always talk about is Michael Jordan. After he finished playing basketball, somebody said, "You never really talked about politics while you were playing." And he said, "I'm selling sneakers." He goes, "I'm not worried about red and blue. I'm worried about green." Right. So if you want to behave in that space and you want to be a friend to everybody, as we joked earlier, talk politics with your cat, talk business with your clients, and behave professionally. Oh, it's my private Facebook page. They'll know that my personal Facebook page. They'll never see me topless riding a donkey, and I'm talking about me, not a female, right? No, they found the pictures from Mexico. They found all of them, right? Because raise your hand if you're looking to go into business with somebody. Will you do a deep dive? My wife should work for the CIA and the FBI. Janina will go deep on you in like 7 seconds and know all the things. Oh, they're only going to find my business page. I didn't give it. Like, they're going to find everything about you. So behave professionally now that you are a public facing business figure. Behave that way. We're inviting you to do that. You can run your business however you want. I'm speaking on behalf of the leadership at our market center, for the most part, for the leadership in New England, and certainly for Gary, right? Because that's the one thing. We all get to be independent contractors. You all get to run Grist Productions. It's all happening within the sandbox that Gary built for us. So we are all putting on the same cape, because in a bad transaction, they may not remember your name. They probably will. They'll definitely remember, oh my God, Keller Williams agent, terrible. Or when you're behaving that way politically online or with any conversation that could cause polarization, they're going to remember it was a KW agent that said those things. And I guarantee, even in this little call, there are a varied a varied vision of what our country should be and is.
Yep.
we
And
need
you
to
know what?
behave
Our reputation matters. And so I do feel strongly about, our behavior on social media. We should never be complaining. We should never be bashing. We should never be bashing another agent. We shouldn't be bashing another human. So go out there and be a positive influence on social media. You'll get business out of that. You really will. If you're consistent on social media, you're sprinkling in that you are a real estate agent. You also can find out about lifestyle events about your people, right? So if your people aren't all connected to you on social media, then you're missing out. When you are connected with your people on social media and you're learning about their life events, call them and let them know, hey, I just saw that your kid just won this great award and is getting a scholarship for school. That is so exciting. Tell me more about that. Or I sometimes will drop a handwritten note to a past client just saying, hey, I just want to let you know you bring so much joy to my life that you keep posting these beautiful pictures of your family. And I just get so much pleasure out of that every time you do. I hope everyone's doing well. Show them that you're a person. Remember, like this whole Ford script, they're not about real estate. We're showing people how much we care. So part of lead generation is being able to plot those life events and being there when they need us, and also knowing when it's time to close them on appointments and close them on real estate.
I think that one of the things that I've been struggling with, I've been in real estate for about 6 months now, so a long second. One of the things that I've struggled with is when I meet clients, I'm really good at making them feel like we're friends. So I'm really good at making that connection and being genuine and transparent and doing the best for them. But I think what I find is that I'm a little bit too open, and not that I'm saying anything inappropriate or something that I shouldn't be, but like out of the 5 homes that I've closed, like 3 of them would text me, or 4 of them would text me at any time, day or night, to ask me a question because they felt that boundary was okay. And like they felt like it was okay to be doing these things. And they're still like, they'll send me friend requests on Facebook. And that's something that I've struggled with because it's my Facebook. I mean, I've had it since 2009 when I was 16 years old. So
yeah, I hear you.
I was a very different person back then.
Well, go clean it up, sister, if you need to. There's no shame in that.
So there's your entire week next week, Courtney.
Yeah.
Delatay.
I privatized a lot of my albums, but
yeah. And sometimes we have to set boundaries, and that's okay. If you are going to set, if someone is texting you or calling you like really late at night or whatever, we have to get good at having direct conversations. Like Courtney, I so appreciate that when you're thinking of, this piece of our contract, that you're reaching right out to me. If it's after 6 o'clock at night, unless it's, urgent, you will hear from me the next morning. But I do put my phone away. If it's not urgent, if we're in negotiations, you'll be hearing from me at night. But if it's not urgent and I get something in after 6 o'clock at night, then I'm going to reach out to you sometime around 9 or 10 in the morning. Is that okay for you, Courtney?
But what if it's not?
Then, Courtney, if that's not okay, please help me understand. I feel like I might be missing something. What are you trying to communicate with me that I'm not getting back to you? Please help me to understand.
So in this market, things fly off the shelf right away. And what if you're not available and we miss something because I can't get a hold of you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen. The market is moving very quickly, but between 7 at night and 9 o'clock the next morning, a property is not going to magically disappear. I probably wouldn't use the word magically, but you have to acknowledge their fear.
Mm-hmm.
You have to acknowledge their fear. I hear you, Courtney. It is stressful to be a buyer right now. My job is to help eliminate as much stress of that as possible. So look through the information that I send you every day. If you see something pop up, we can talk about that. If it's after 7 o'clock at night and I'm having dinner with my family, then I will get back to you the next morning. So keep a list. Feel free to text me those questions and I will be right on that first thing in the morning. when I'll be able to reach out to that agent and get those questions answered, because most likely I'm not going to be able to get them from the listing agent either at that time at night.
Courtney,
And
to this.
if they're in that collab center, right? If they're in that Narren collab center, that's probably like, hey, you got the collab center, you got your finger on the trigger there. Everything you see is like, so that's what that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Well, Courtney, this goes back to you can manage expectations after you've set them at the onset, right? So when you're sitting with them and letting them know, like, you know, in the grand scheme, so, and that opens up that level of permission too, because of course they want to meet you with like a headlamp at 9:30 to go look at 123 Main Street because it's perfectly timed for them. If it's really important to them, right? Hey, you know what? Like permission moving forward because the velocity of the current marketplace, Mr. Lindsay. If I'm at the Kenyon's open house or a broker open house, and we don't really, everything seems to be just open houses these days. We're doing some brokers again. That being said, if I'm at an open house and I see a property that we're discussing right now, it's a near perfect match. It'll never be 100%. Do I have permission to call you guys so you can leave Liberty Mutual in the middle of the day to come see it? Because financially, honestly, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they always struggle with having the home inspection at the time that's suitable for us, but they would leave to get a root canal or pick up their Ferrari. So if this endeavor really is important to you, Mr. Lindsay, if I see a house that works for you, you'd be willing to leave work to come to the open house in the middle of the day. Well, no, that doesn't really make sense for me. Oh, because it flies in the face of your schedule, right? And this is about just clear lines, right? And this, to your point, Courtney, I heard you saying it. I was always very careful to not accept friend requests and that kind of stuff until after the transaction closed.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to blur those lines. I do want to be available to them. And I reference this class all the time. Great real estate agent within Keller Williams. His name is Matt Fedek. And 1,000 years ago, he taught a class called Play Big. And he said this, and I'll never forget it. We should have like an OSHA chart behind us, right? Thus far in real estate, 0 deaths. Nobody's died. Yeah. Right. And Susan's greater point is, Mr. Lindsay, if there's an issue with the transaction, I'll be contacting you.
Yeah.
If you're calling me, we're really out of luck.
Yeah.
You know,
and you have to isolate that objection. So it sounds to me, and that's what I would tell that person. I would say, it sounds to me, Tim, like you're afraid of missing out on property.
Yeah,
Not responding at 9 o'clock at night isn't going to cause you to miss out on property. But let's talk about what makes you the strongest buyer in this market. Okay, so I'm going to get you into homes as soon as we can get you into them for the ones that make sense. But how are we looking on all of our fronts? Where's your lending at? Have you gotten fully pre-approved? Are you continuing to save money? You know, whatever it is that you can talk about on how to be a strong buyer, let them know that it sounds to me like you're afraid of missing out on properties. What we really can work on is making sure that you're the strongest buyer when we identify a property that you want to put an offer in on. Let's talk about what that looks like. They're afraid of missing out on properties. They don't realize that not calling a listing agent at 9 o'clock at night is going to make them miss out on a house. We have to nicely let them know that. But we also have to let them know that they have responsibilities on how to be a strong buyer if that's what's truly important to them.
And with our buyers, this is the differentiation between working with them and waiting with them, right? Yeah. I hear you guys say it all the time. Oh, Timmy, I'm working with a bunch of buyers. Well, are you working with them or waiting with them? Because it feels like a lot of people are standing at the bus stop with their buyer, waiting for the listing to pull up. And guess what? It's never going to get to the corner that you're at. Because somebody a few corners down is going to buy that bus. Bad analogy, but we're here. So we're doing it, right? So in the grand scheme of things, that is our job to go get the bear claws, right?
Yeah. Go do a drive-by.
If our buyers are fat kids, we need bear claws.
Yeah.
Don't wait for somebody else to bake one. Go make it yourself, right? And that's if we can get them connected to our inventory. Leverage for our veteran agents on this call is most of the buyers you're working with are buying something under your umbrella. That's where it comes from.
You mean like setting them up on a search through Flex MLS or something like that?
Well, going to get it though, Courtney, in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I raise your hand if you're working with a buyer right now and they've been looking for more than 20 minutes. All of us, right? Yes. So if that's where you're at, then you're having that conversation. Hey, Mr. Lindsay, I know the velocity of the marketplace, things are going quickly. Based on the fact that you were texting me at 3:15, that wasn't great. I appreciate that you're really concerned about finding your house. Let's have another conversation about what we're truly looking for. And then I'd like you guys this holiday weekend while you're driving around, if it is Portsmouth, New Hampshire, if it is this section of streets, go get me some actual physical addresses. The civilians aren't thinking this way. They're like, well, it's not on the market yet, Courtney. You can't sell it to me until it's on the market. Well, it's my job as a real estate agent to bring it on the market, right? So could you go knock some doors and say, hi, Mrs. Kenyon, my name's Courtney. I'm with Keller Williams. My clients, the Lindsays, are looking for this house, your house. So you're looking to move out in the next 10, 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I would say it just like that to see what their motivation is.
Yep.
Well, I feel like we'd probably need a couple hours, Tim, but sure, we can get started, right? But find out what their motivation
Yeah.
is. We're waiting for stuff to come on the market. It's all there. Every driveway you pass has a house at the end of it. Pull it into the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
That will cure it for a lot of them.
Yep. Ask great questions, and that will help you with making them feel better, because they think they need for you to say, you're available 24/7, but that's not going to serve them. So I need to find a way that's going to serve them and isolate their objection. If you see something that late at night, feel free to go do a drive-by so that when I can connect with you in the morning, we can have a better conversation about it. Steer them away from that. And then you were asking about business page versus personal page. Yes, you should have a business page and make sure that you're following your market center's compliance rules around that. I find that I get more out of my personal page than my business page, because that is my sphere. But I'm just careful not to throw up real estate on my personal page. They need to see me as a person. They need to, you know what? People do business with people that they like. So they need to see things about you that are going to cause them to like you on your personal page. Like doing things with your kids, or doing things with your pets, or volunteering within the community, or taking pictures of really cool plants or flowers, or whatever it is that people will connect with you about. That's what you want to show. So yeah, you need both, but my experience has been that I get more from my personal page. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody have anything else on the Ford scripts? Are we good there? Okay. Know the tools. So somebody had put in their pen and paper for your database. Well, that is one, Cage, for sure. But you're going to need more than pen and paper for sure. And this really, it's so funny, because my husband and I were just talking about the health of our own database last night, right? So these things are what successful agents do every day. We don't ever stop. The health of your database always is an issue, and mine could be healthier. When I'm totally in touch with my database, I get more business, and when I'm not, I lose business. So what are your tools? Really, Command is if you don't have an outside database, jump into Command. Find out who your tech trainer is. If you don't know who your tech trainer in your market center is, go to your productivity coach or your team leader or your Facebook page. It's a tool for you to put your contacts in there, to set them up on smart plans, so that smart plan is reminding you when you sit down to do your lead generation, you can log in and find out who is on my list of people to call today, so I don't forget them. And part of setting them up is a plan to connect with them by phone, by snail mail, by email, by text, by social media. There's lots of resources in there, but you need to be using them in order for them to work for you. Your phone has apps on it that could be tools for you. Your KW app can be a tool for you that you can use daily to build your business. So, to find people that you might want to be needing to put into your database. We have to feed our database, and it is a numbers game, but garbage in, garbage out. So as you're building your Command or your database as your tool, remember that it's important to put good information in there. If you need a name, you need a phone number, you need an email address, you need a physical address in order to really set up effective communication with them. And it's okay. Sometimes I've called people just to say, hey, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while, and I'm looking through my information I have, and I don't even have your new address. Where are you guys living right now? You know what? It's showing them that I'm a person and that I care. I'm getting ready to set up my Christmas card list, and I don't want you to miss out on my Christmas card. So know your tools, and really database is so important. Put people in there, communicate with them systematically, and it will pay you back. And the tools that you need to be successful. So, you know, we have Keller Mortgage. We have Command right there in the middle with your virtual agent. This is the version for like your KW Tech, or the vision for your KW Tech. And if you're really new and you haven't had a chance to deep dive into this, then I would say I'm a fan of breaking things up into small pieces and doing them one at a time. So when I look at this, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so much work. I'm going to flip to the next slide. So pick something. I would start with your database and your Command with your people. Your KW Tech Director will have training on all of this with you. But starting with complete information, starting with putting people into your database, starting with setting them up on a smart plan. And a smart plan is just an automatic system for reminding you to stay in touch with them. Even if your smart plan or your automatic touch, your touches look like I have to call them every quarter. Or I call somebody, I've charted them on my graph, my wave, right? And they're working on they say I'm going to be ready in 6 months and I need to chop that in 3. Well, that means I might want to be I might need to send them out. I just spoke to them on the phone. I might need to send out a handwritten card. I might need to say I have to touch base with them in a month with some type of action item for them. I might be needing to set up an appointment with them in 2 to 3 months. Whatever that looks like, you can use Command to set those reminders and smart plans up so that you're not forgetting your people. Who's using Command right now? Is anybody already using that? It's pretty easy, right?
Yes.
And the beauty of it, it will grow with you. So as you want to add more complication into it, as you're growing your business, you can do that. You have Kelly, right? You have Kelly on your phone. So if you want to take a snapshot as you're heading into Hannaford to the grocery store, like I do, like 4 times a week, and someone's going to say, what's happening in, Dover today? You might get a snapshot of that before you even go in so that you know. Or maybe you're in line with someone and they say, what is happening today? You can pull that information up like really quickly right here. And then you're offering value. And you're showing them how educated you are. You're showing them that you have tech tools to work with. So now when they think of real estate, they just saw you in the grocery store. You were able to pull up automatic information. You're leaving there, you're going and adding them to your social media. You're putting them on in an automatic campaign so they're getting communicated to regularly. And maybe you're dropping them a handwritten note. And now when you call them in a week because they said, oh yeah, you said something to me in the store last week and I want to follow up with that. You're reminding them again very quickly of what you do. And then that consistency starts playing with each other. It rolls off of each other and it starts growing, and they start connecting your name with real estate so that when they go out to dinner that night, you're top of mind. And that's really the name of the game, is to stay top of mind.
Susan, Cage had made the comment about pen and paper, and we joked about that a little bit. Just for everybody's mindset, you could have all your people written down in a Rolodex. If you don't know what that means, ask your grandparents. You could have a Rolodex. You could have it written down, pen and paper. You could have, I love the ever famous Excel spreadsheet. All of those are cool. That at least they're in one place. I would argue you've got people probably scattered across all your social media, where somebody might be in your Facebook and they're not in your Tinder for obvious reasons. That being said, wherever your people are, can we get them all into one place? And more importantly, getting them into a tool like Command. Again, we're here to offer best practices, not tell you how to run your business. Some of your teams are using other resources outside of Command. That's fine. Command, as a KW agent, is sitting waiting for you to open it for free because it's part of your physical experience with the brokerage. So it's part of your agent bill. It's there. That's your access for a CRM. And the differentiation between what Command does and my phone does, right? Because people do this all the time, Susan, right? They take, I got my phone, I downloaded everything to a spreadsheet, and then I put them all in Command. So now everyone in your life is sound asleep in 2 places, right? The reason Command or a CRM a database sets itself apart from your phone is the database is going to start to do things for you on your behalf while you're doing other things. So if I can get people into Command and get them running on campaigns and smart plans while I'm out having lunch, doing showings, or in the middle of lead generation, people are getting touches as part of the experience of being in business or near business with me. That's going to create more transactions over time. Not just, well, I haven't looked at the phone in my face to talk to anybody, so I don't have any business.
Right.
Right. Get everybody in your life, get them into a spreadsheet. You're obviously going to get rid of some redundancies. And to Susan's point, her and John, everyone still has homework to do, because when you get into your database, you might have Timothy Lindsay and 603-834-2856, but you don't have the home address. You don't have tim@leavemealone.com, and you can't really give me the full experience of all the different touch points. So name spelled correctly, cell phone, so we can text them, right? And not too many people have landlines. Do you have a who has a landline? Raise your hand if you're as old as me. You have a landline? No? God, all right. Thank you, Arthur. God help me. So cell phone, name spelled correctly, because that's another really difficult thing. If I know that David Elliott wants to be called David, not Dave, not Davey, and I don't want to spell Elliott wrong, you could spell that 15 different ways. I don't want to send him a handwritten note after finally getting him on the phone for the first time in 7 years, and I spelled his last name wrong. Now he feels unheard and uncared for. So all this stuff seems like real nitty gritty, granular stuff. It's important. The end user experience. Are they going to have a transaction with you or an experience with you? Yep. And the way you start to gather data to make sure they're in your universe is going to matter. So name, email, phone number, physical address. And as realtors, most of us, if you're a veteran on this call, most of us, we don't really gather. We didn't gather in the past the physical address. Because, oh, I know where David Elliott lives. I sold him the house. Well, he actually listed it last week with somebody else because you haven't talked to him since forever, right? Yeah. So that's super important as part of the process with Command for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Because we're going to be asking you people to get, the appointment and make a lot of calls. We're going to be asking for you to be adding people to your database, 10 people a day. And you think you're going to remember to follow up with them, but you really don't. And the thing about leads is that it's all in the follow-up. So if you speak to someone and they ask, you're having a conversation about plumbers or renovation or comparables or anything, and you say, you know what, I might have someone for that. If you don't follow up and give it to them, you look worse than if you never even called. So the key is in the follow-up, and your database helps you do that. It also helps you to know what your talking point is going to be on your next call. You can put birthdays in there. So it's the number of times that you touch these people throughout the course of the year that will help keep you top of mind, so that when they are ready to transact, you're there. So we need to find ways to be top of mind, and that's by using a plan in Command or in a database. And you add things to it, like go on their social media and find out their birthday. Send them a birthday card. You get a referral. You send that person a thank you card. If somebody sends you a referral, you best be thanking them, because now they've opened the door, right? You now know that they are somebody that knows how to refer. And we'll talk about that in other sessions of Spark, because I could probably go on for an hour about that. So I'll stop myself. But thank people. People love to get handwritten things in the mail. That's a great way to just be reminding them that you're here. People will use, digital platforms for 4th of July, for Memorial Day, sending out, an email with something about one of those holidays. They'll send out, holiday cards. They will send out comparables. There's reminders in there, or automatic ways to send them market information on what's happening in their market or in a market that they might be interested in going to. Somebody's asking, where does everyone get their affirmations? I think affirmations are super personal. You have to figure out what it is that you need to be telling yourself right now. And so my affirmations may change over time. And here, I'll be transparent again. Mine are across the board. And mine are like, I'm a great real estate agent. I help people make smart decisions. I look really great today. I'm smiling a lot. I'm very pretty. And some of mine are vain like that, because I need to feel good about myself when I'm going out in front of other people. So do I tell myself that? You're damn right I do.
I just put affirmations can be found everywhere. Whatever fills you with positivity and purpose. And I spelt affirmations wrong. So my first affirmation is I'm growing in my spelling every day is my new affirmation. I'll laminate that for the shower tomorrow. Dear God. But yeah, don't let you're overthinking it. And again, it's just about, just think about what you're going to be doing today. Like I'm going to spend this afternoon calling the people that I know and love and trust. So I'm going to call the people I know and love and trust with a heart full of service and love.
Yeah.
That's it.
People are going to be happy to hear from you
then
today.
find something else, right?
Yep. Yeah. Whatever you tell yourself, you'll believe. So tell yourself something good.
Mhm.
And you have your hand up. Go ahead. Do I see a hand?
Wade, yep. Wade, you're muted.
Hi, thank you guys for today. I just moved back into Mass. I was down south for 10 years. I get, reach out to everyone and everyone that as far as like referrals or working with other agents out of state. How much time so a lot of my contacts are out of state. How much time do I need to invest in that? Is it just a quick, hey, how are you? This is what I'm doing now. Are we putting a lot of time into contacts out of state is what I'm asking.
So you have opportunities with people out of state if they know people here that could refer you. My first reaction is to say, you need to find some people in state. Go find some people. So where do you go? Yeah, where do you go? Do you go to the gym? Do you go to the library? Do you go to coffee shops? Do you have kids in schools? And if you don't have any of those things, then find them. Join a chamber of commerce, join some networking groups. You need to be connecting with people here. That would be my advice.
We hear this all the time. Like, hey, I just moved here. I don't have anybody here. So to Susan's point, make some people here, find some people here, lean into your conversations here. And because the job of what we're doing is I'm not calling Susan and David and Linda and Trevor today to find out if they're looking to move. Most of the people that are closest to us, Wade, we probably know where they're at right now, or we think we do. But I'm ultimately not calling my initial sphere. My first phone calls are not to people like hoping that Lisbeth's going to move today. That's not the case. I'm calling to find out who she knows that I should know.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean by that, Wade? Well, we're looking for listings for our buyers for our listings, and talent for our team, and just expanding on that conversation.
Yeah.
Your connections down south, I wouldn't ignore them, but the immediacy of helping somebody terra firma in New England, in Massachusetts, is going to be greater when you start to connect with people here.
Yeah.
You know?
There's an agent in our market center, Melissa Lesniak. I will give a shout out to her. She has built such an incredible business on being involved in her community. I don't know if I know of another agent here that is as involved in community as she is. And she had a coach tell her right from the get-go that if you want to build a big business, get involved in your community. She's very involved so she's not just part of the chamber, she's involved in the chamber. She's not just in the Rotary, she's very involved in the Rotary. She has charities that she's not just a part of and contributes to, she participates in them at high levels, at very high levels. Yeah. And she's gotten a lot of business from that because she cares about her community and the charities, and because she devotes the time to them. So if you are out there and you don't feel like you have a sphere, those are some ways to connect with people to build a sphere. And you can do that also by just finding things that, that you like to do. My husband loves motorcycles. He has a sphere of people that we do business with, from Harley Davidson people. Yep, it can be done. Guess what? People that own Harleys also live in houses.
Huh. Write that down, everybody.
Yeah. Who knew? So what is it? Spend some time reflecting on how you can get involved with groups, and somebody put meetup meetings. David, that's a great idea. That yeah. people are meeting in person again. So if you don't have a huge sphere of people right now, then it might take a little bit more effort to figure out who those people are. But you can do it, and you can also, for Facebook, community pages have never been so busy as they are since COVID. Mm-hmm. At least in my area. Find those community pages, get involved in them. So when someone is asking for something on a community page, start being active on it. And if it's something like someone's asking for a question or something that you might have an answer to, not even related to real estate, send them a private message. Hey, I saw that you were looking for a dermatologist. Here's a great one that I really love. Let me know how it works out. Oh, I hear you're looking for a landscaper. Here's a great one. Let me know how it works out. Oh, I see that you like community trails. I was just on this one. Let me know how you liked it. You're just starting to put yourself out there. Does that help?
Yeah, so I mean, I was up here, it was probably about 10 years ago. I lived up here for about 10 years, so I have, you know, a decent amount of contacts here, but I have more out of state. I just didn't know how much time and effort I needed to put into that. Do I need to try to find their birthdays and emails, or is it just kind of a touch, hey, this is what I'm doing?
If I want to
Yeah.
get to a closing table, I'd focus on building up your people here. That's
Yeah.
personally what I would do. I'm not a coach though, so.
If Wade, obviously, if there's a migration pattern, if you moved from down south to up here because of business, are there more people connected to your, you know, the company you were with, that would be coming this way? Like that's an important thing to think about. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't ignore 10 years of your face being down south. I just more immediately would want to get ingratiated with some people up here for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Wade.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So I did it. So there's a similar thing that happened to me when I was stationed in North Carolina. And oh, he's getting up and leaving.
Go ahead, Courtney.
The Haywade.
We're
part.
interested, Courtney.
He went to get pen and paper. It's his database.
Sorry, I had a spider crawl on my desk.
Okay.
So my point is I moved up here from North Carolina and I'm in Maine now. But I used to drill out of Fort Devens in Mass also. And so I had similar situations, but I mean, I also have connections in Mass, and you can feel free to PM me, or like send me a friend request on Facebook or whatever. And I can try to like help you facilitate some of those connections if you're anywhere near that area. So
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Noah, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of contribute to that Harley comment you made. I have a couple of friends who they now live in Florida, but they are very, very successful agents. I believe it's with Remax. But we always went to Bike Week together. We rode all over the Kangamangas. We went to the Weirs, and every time we went out to the Weirs, they were talking to every biker they knew, and they were always out on docks, bars, and they got a lot of business.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people they talk to don't even own motorcycles. They're just there for the sights and people and the event. So I always kind of like wondered what the heck they were doing going out and just talking to all these random people, but now it's making sense.
Yeah, we got to talk to people.
Hi, I'd like to say something. I'm also a transplant from Massachusetts living here. I was living in North Carolina, actually trying to get started up in real estate, and then a lot of things happened with the COVID, so I came back to the New England area. So I do need to create more resources here. However, I already posted something just an hour ago on Facebook to my contacts, which primarily friends and family from Massachusetts. I know we can get a referral fee, correct? If we refer them, you're right. So I figured that's something to start. All it took was a 2-minute post. And so at least I got the ball rolling there. And then of course, plan on doing, connections with groups, organizations here to meet more people. But again, I also plan on at some point taking the state, Massachusetts state licensing course so that I could do both. But I just thought it's still important for me to have reached out to them to let them know, because I do have a friend right now. She has a home that's valued over $1 million and she wants to sell. So I think that's a good referral there for somebody
Absolutely.
in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this concerning that. It's going to take the same amount of blood, sweat, and tears to lead generate in any state. So do you want to be lead generating for 25% or 100%? And all the answers are right. We'll ask this 1,000 times this month. Do you want return business or referral business? Yes, I want all the business, right? But if I'm going to do lead generation activities right now, and I'm trying to launch my rocket, that is my real estate business, I would be aiming for, local business that I can get all of it. So,
okay,
Yeah.
So let's just say, all right, once a week, I'm going to spend an hour, or every day I'm going to put in my calendar a reminder to call somebody in North Carolina or South Carolina or wherever you guys were down south. I'm going to connect with one person down there every day, right? And make sure that I am having a phone call, a referral phone call with my old people, my old crew down south. But I'm gonna spend most of my time building my sphere of influence here, right? And for you guys that are here in your transplants, it's just really building your sphere to start, then starting to build the army of the influence, right?
Yep. So we're adding people to our database. That is the goal. And when we're adding people to our database, what it does is it gives us 3 things to control. It helps you to control who you're going to follow up with, what frequency you're going to follow up with them at, and what intensity. But if you don't have people in your database, you can't do those things. So I know all of you can do that. And our goal here is going to be, 10 people added daily to the database. And then you're going to put in, what do we know about them? Their family, their occupation, their recreation, their dreams. So find those resources and add them to your database for sure. Our other resources, job aids, there's your Ignite toolkit. You have script books, buyer lead sheet, your 411, your plan your day checklist, your previewing homes job aid, your pre-listing questionnaire, your pre-listing packet, your open house tools. I'm not going to go into each of these individually now because these will all be sessions within Ignite. So you guys are going to have a session on open houses and on listings and on buyers. And we'll be talking more about them, but you have an Ignite toolkit that you can access this stuff with. So what we need to do now is we need to prepare for success. So this is your job, like this whole Spark Learning module. You own your own business. We are now officially small business owners. So we are doing today Fuel Your Career. And this is kind of give you an overall of Spark that includes like modules that we'll be using and tools that you're going to need. We're going to talk about the lead generation module. Huge module. This session is going to provide an overview of the lead generation model as the foundation of successful real estate business, because we know that successful real estate agents lead generate every day. It's all about the lead. It will cover how to lead generate and why lead generation is our #1 priority. So we're going to, it's going to be like a broken record hearing lead generation, but we'll give you some more information on that during the lead generation module.
There'll be cake at the end.
Right? Cake makes everything better.
Yeah,
that and margaritas.
There'll be cake at the end. Yeah.
Understanding scripts. And so understanding scripts is really conversations. So think about a script as it's just all it is a conversation, right? By the end of that module, you'll know the benefits of using powerful conversations and you'll have practiced using them. Okay. We're going to set up your database and feed it, because your database is your business. We'll focus on the 3 levels of a millionaire database and work on developing one of your very own. And why are we doing that? Because we know that agents that make money do this. So we're going to do what they do. We're going to set goals that matter. It's all about setting a meaningful goal. We're going to learn how to use the 411 and applying an 80-20 principle to achieve your goals. So we'll talk about the 80-20 principle more. And that's 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of your 20% of your activities. We feed each other that way. 20% of the agents in your office do 80% of the business of your office. I guarantee it. So we're going to focus on that, where our 20% has got to be really important. And does anyone have any idea what our 20% starts with? 20% of our efforts for 80% of our results?
Starts with an L, ends with a generation.
It is.
Pesky facts, Susan.
Pesky. If you don't want to lead generate, you might not want to come back. I'm sorry. I'm serious. I'm just so honest about this because I want you guys to succeed.
Yes.
We need you to come back, but we need you to lead generate, people. Yep. It's hard, but it can be fun too.
Well, and this is the chunk it down thing too, Susan, right? So over the course of the month, right? If
Yeah.
look at it this way, and this is why it will be powerful, and we should run their phone math with them before we go to. If you put per the 10-4, if you put 10 people into your database and had conversations with them today, conversations with them, not I called and got voicemail, or I called a number that I know doesn't work 9 times, right? I called and had a conversation with at least 10 people today. That sounds like a lot of work. It is. Welcome to real estate. If you do that, get permission from them, put them into your database over the course of the month, you now have 300 people in your command. And we'll run some math in a little bit, but we know the numbers. If you put 600 people in your database, and most of you in all of your things have 600 people. I'm getting a phone call now from my database. I'm joking. I'm not. The front desk. I'm afraid. Maybe the police are here. So you get 600 people in your database. If you run the math based on the 36 Connect, one of the smart plans in command, on a 12-2 ratio, for every 12 people, there's 2 pieces of business. There's 50 deals in a 600-person database. So walk that back and make the promise to yourself, the commitment to yourself. I'm going to have 300 people in my database at the end of this month. Would you like 25 deals? I can tell you at our market center, based on average, we get 9 to 10 deals get you to capper status at 463. Would you like 15 deals at 100% at 463? Every one of my agents should be saying yes, please, twice, right?
Yep.
So just chunk it down. Don't worry about doing all the business today. Starting today, are you willing to do what it takes to build a big database?
Yep. So we're going to set up our database and we're going to feed it. We're going to set goals that matter. We're going to learn about delivering your value proposition. That's going to be a very powerful session for you, delivering your value proposition, because that's really important. That needs to just roll off your tongue, and that's going to be a great session coming up. We're going to do find and win with the buyer, and we're going to work with sellers. So there's a lot of information coming up in the Spark modules that you're going to be learning. And this is our job. Our job is to be more human, more often, with more people, and we'll get more business. There's people out there getting ready to move. Our job is to show how we care about them and to be top of mind when they're ready. The hardest part is just being accountable to yourself. So I know that you're accountable to yourself because you chose to spend from 9 to 12, maybe 12:15 with us today. So I really do appreciate that you've done that. So these are going to be great modules for you guys to jump into. I'm going to move on because I know I'm getting a little bit behind here. But once we finish with Spark, then you're going to jump into Elementals, which also has some great modules: prospecting, marketing, open houses, seller appointments and buyer consultations. Very important, right? That we can sit down and have meaningful conversations with these people. Then some really fun ones: making and receiving offers, negotiating the deal, Matt Erdman's Financial Basics, which is going to be super great. And then we're going to talk about contract to close. We do all of this work, tons of work. We get under agreement, and then we have contract to close, where we're going to be getting to the closing table, and then market center specific module. So these will all be coming after we finish up with Spark. So the daily 10-4. So we're going to talk about growing and managing your database. We've talked a lot about that. Prospecting. So the growing and managing your database is the 10 new contacts added to your database every day. And if you have time for more is great. More is great. We're going to prospect by speaking with 10 people in your database about real estate, two-way conversation. And that can be a text or a Facebook message for people that's where your biggest communication is with some of your sphere. That's okay. We're going to follow up by writing 10 notes to people you've recently contacted. People love the handwritten note. They really do. People don't get them in the mail very often, so they love it when they do get them. And honestly, that's been very powerful for my businesses. I do a lot of handwritten stuff. And we're going to preview 10 homes every week so that we know our market, because we can better serve people when we know what our market is. So this is the daily 10-4. Math solves all problems. The number is 10.
Yep. And if you have difficulty with most things like I do, for my brain, I would flip the first two. And here's why. My fear is you're going to take 10 people out of your phone, out of your thumb drive, out of your Rolodex, out of your spreadsheet, and put them into command, and then not get a hold of them. So especially with the TCPA, you hear us talking about all the time, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. We want to make sure we're figuring out who we're going to call, and we have conversations with them, and we're getting permission from them to move forward, put them in our database and stay connected with some sort of a business value moving forward, right? So I want to call 10 people and have that conversation where I am going to stay in touch with them, gather their contact info, then put them in command. So I would flip those first two personally for myself.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I do like that, Tim.
And then
Yep.
based on the conversations I had, to Susan's point, I'm running 10 handwritten notes. Great connecting with you today. Thanks for taking my call. Here's the business card you asked for. If you have your business cards, drop them a business card. Make sure you're connecting with them maybe on your next call by having them download your KW Consumer app. And then ultimately over the course of the week, that's 10 a day. Over the course of the week, can I familiarize myself with 10 properties in my area this week? And that's either by virtual tours, going to open houses, helping a veteran agent with an open house. So we start to learn, because when you're on a phone call with somebody who's looking to buy 123 Main Street, and based on their financial product, they can't buy it because there's chipping paint and a dead body in the basement, you can say, oh, I was just there. That's not going to work for your particular financial product, and here's why, right? But we can speak from a knowledge base on the properties, not just like, oh, I've never seen that one.
Right.
Powerful.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to use a lockbox. You're going to learn that if the lockbox is on the front porch and there's decking and there's slats in the decking, that we never take the key. We protect the key
Oh,
from falling.
sounds like a personal story, Susan. Tell
Been
me
there.
less. Tell me
Yeah.
less. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, previewing the homes is important. So, and what if I do less? What if I do less than 10? Then your business will grow more slowly.
Yep.
It's really as simple as that. So it's kind of like getting out of our comfort zones. If it feels comfortable when you start, then you're probably doing it wrong. We want to get uncomfortable. And, find, that could be an affirmation. I'm going to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And one way that you'll know that you're maybe getting uncomfortable enough, when you're on the phone with someone, go 5 questions deep with them to learn more about them. How's your job? Great. How's working from home? How does that make you feel? Why is that important to you? Like, just keep drilling down on the question. Oh, who else is doing that with you? Is that your entire family? Whatever it is, kind of take whatever that first question is and drill down 5 times. You're going to get more information, and people are going to really feel like you care about them. And our goal here is to set an appointment. And one of the reasons that we do all this is because we don't want to practice on our first client. So the more we talk to people, the more we add to our database, the more questions we ask, the deeper we go, we're learning, and we're not practicing when we're in a transaction. Okay. Make the most out of Spark. If by noon, when you're doing your scripting and you're practicing and your lead gen, if by noon you don't have 10 contacts, you have 7 contacts, keep going. If you don't have an appointment, keep going. If your date for the night canceled and you have nothing to do, keep going, double down, make more calls, keep working. The faster you get those leads, whoever has the most leads wins.
Maybe your date canceled because they know you don't have any money because you haven't done any lead generation. Who knows?
Right?
Who knows?
Right?
I'm gathering
Absolutely.
intel as we speak. I know who everybody's dating.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And you know what? Because it's fun. It's fun when you get that commission check. That, getting to the closing table is fun. And also learning and helping people is fun. But if you haven't gotten the appointments, maybe start asking for the appointments sooner in your conversation. But it is all a numbers game. Make the next call. Every no gets you closer to a yes. And if you're
National
having
average is 19 no's to a yes. National
19 no's to a yes, there you go. And when you're done with all of that, then, then you can fit in the other pieces that you want to be practicing, like your contracts, command. If you don't know command, build in time after your lead generation and after your contacts to learn a little bit more about command and how you can make that work for you. Okay. So we're getting close to the end. I'm so grateful. You guys have done a great job with sticking with me, and I really do appreciate it. Do we have any, we're going to recap ahas. So how has your thinking changed? Was there anything here that kind of gave you an aha or makes you feel differently about real estate or about getting started?
I need to work harder on my sphere.
There you go, Courtney. At least you know, right?
Yeah, it is nerve-wracking though. It's, yeah, exactly what you said earlier.
Absolutely.
I have a quick aha. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna steal so many little phrases from Tim. I like the delete, whatever he said with the delete thing.
Delete, it's French for
Delete. It took
yeah.
me a little while because I'm just hearing more, hearing it. I'm like, wait a second, what the? And then the Nostradamus thing. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta say that.
That's my
Every
wife's
time
pet
Tim's
name
on
for
it,
me. Yeah.
I'm getting good stuff. And also on those mailers, I don't know if anyone's ever done this, haven't done a mailer. I personally think, and I did work at the post office, spray some cologne on your letter or something that smells good, not something like ridiculous. Like a nice scent.
Hard no from me, but keep going, Anthony.
Oh, because I just remember every time we get, X amount of, the smelly one, I'd be like, oh, this piece of mail, that one got delivered because of, it's a little pick me up kind of thing. But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe people will be like, oh, this guy smells like whatever.
I feel like you have like 4 gallons of Drakkar Noir from high school. And you're like, how do I get rid of this?
But I got the cologne. I keep getting it. I never wear it, but now.
Yeah, then you get some person who could have been a wealth determiner, and your mailer smells like her ex. I would not do that.
Yeah,
I would not do that. Probably not. Just a thought.
No pheromone spray in there.
No. Deliver value elsewhere. Yes.
Anybody else have an aha? Remember, how we participate here is how we participate everywhere. I'm in bold right now. Can you tell?
I had an aha. I'm a little less come out to you. Like I'm less, I wait for people to come to me, and I realize I need to change that. I need to change it to where I come to them and I show them my value, because they can't see it. They don't know me. They don't know what I do. So I can't expect someone to just know that anymore. So that's important for me. And it was a good thing that you brought that up, or that you both brought that up, because that's something I struggle with and something I can start to work on today.
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear you say you can start to work on it today, because I know that you can.
Yes.
I know that you can, Bree.
Yeah.
And it is that's hard for us, but we can't be secret agents. We can't be secret agents.
Sorry about that. I was struck by how you said set up your database and feed it. And for me, I don't know why, but I can treat it like a puppy. I need to sort of, I don't know, the stigmatism of like the sales part, I can let that go if I'm looking at it as like my little pet.
Yeah, there you go. Then I'm so glad. Yeah, feed it, like be nice to it, nurture it, love it, give it some attention. If we're not giving it attention, it's not going to grow.
Well, Zoe, am I pronouncing it correctly, Zoe? Zoe makes a great point. If so many people look at the CRM or look at the database and they're like, well, it feels so clunky. It feels so sterile. It's this place where I put my people to manage them. Nope. Your people are in that CRM to manage your activities. It's our one way to create an experience for all of our people in different ways through different mediums at the same time. It's a management system for us, not for them.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, but ask yourself this too, Zoe, and I can already hear your thinking changing. Everyone on this call, ask yourself this: when you do step away from real estate, we all have these grand plans. I'm going to sell my business to somebody, and this is going to feel heartbreaking to you. Your business should, God willing, depending on the size of the thumb drive and your efforts starting today, you're going to be selling a thumb drive to somebody. That's your business. You can't, well, it's all the people I know. Well, who are they? Well, they're out in the street, Timmy. Like your business is going to be the influence you create over the coming years through your database, through the communication, through the experiences you create for your people that you will eventually hand on to somebody else. That is the business you will sell. Should you choose to take that avenue when the time comes and you want to just go drink Mai Tais and put your feet in the sand or do whatever. So Zoe, your little puppy, I want it to be a mastiff when you're done. Okay. Like that's the mindset. Build a monster. Because this will be passive income, just like profit share for all of you, should you choose for it to be moving forward.
Awesome. What do you got for us, Nina?
I just actually, I have a question.
Sure.
So, and I wanted to hear your thoughts. I joined Cole Realty. So I was able to get a lot of contact information. So how do you feel about sending out like a mass email? Is that something that's just because there's one specific town has very low listings. It's an extremely desirable town, well, for many reasons, but anyways. I'm sending out, I was planning on sending out like just a mass email, like just BCC. Everyone, how does that, I mean, is that tacky? Is that?
I'm not going to say don't do it, but if that's all you do, this is not going to ring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just isn't in my experience. Email's tough. Matt, I think it's easy to hide behind doing like mass emails, mass mailers, mass this, mass that. We need to feed our database by communicating and having two-way conversations right now. If you're gonna build the database, if you're gonna follow up with an email, that could be different. I haven't had luck with just mass emails. They could go into people's spam. Mm-hmm. I don't like receiving mass emails. I would say if you're going to email people, you have to have another way to communicate with them either before or after so that there's follow-up to know if it was received, to know if you're offering value. People are getting a lot of that mass communication stuff.
Nina,
so
I guess
Cole Realty, I only have, there's a do not call list. So I'm not, and there's, thousands of contacts in there. So I'm just kind of using that as a start and I'm making the calls, just doing cold calls. I don't know, but if I'm calling them, and they're not answering, I think that is better than nothing, but I don't know. I don't know if it's.
So our goal for Spark is to get an appointment within 2 weeks. And I don't know that you're going to achieve that with mass emails. I would go back and find ways that you can find your people and talk to them with two-way communication and add them to your database. And if you don't have those, like the sphere for that, then it's going back to the conversation that we had about how do we find them? Is it by going to events within the community? What are your hobbies that you can go and align yourself with people that have the same hobbies that you can then go have the forward conversation with, that you can then come back and add them to your database with, that you can then set up to have a systematic way to keep in touch with them with.
Okay, so
Nina, just for clarity for everybody on the call. So Nina's talking about Cole Realty. It's one of millions of online lead aggregators. And my concern, Nina, is you are getting information from an online lead aggregator. And then, so arguably these people, I would argue, are probably all unmets to you. They're not mets, they're unmets to you. Right. And then you are doing the path of least resistance insofar as getting a hold of them. So everybody think about when you get an email from somebody that you don't know. Like, I'll go back to my mom and pick on Shirley Lindsay again. Like, she might not open an email from me, never mind one from somebody she doesn't know. So if you got tim@leavemealone.com on Cole Realty and sent me an email and I've never been in business with you, Nina, the likelihood of me clicking in or clicking through or time on page that will eventually build a relationship, I would think you're going to get more meat on the bone that is lifting the 80,000 pound phone to your face and having conversations with your loved ones.
Oh, actually,
and we've
so
got,
I am going through that phone call list.
Okay.
So, but I guess you know what, I should have really clarified my question. So I am going through the phone calls.
Good.
And just trying to make, you know, I am making the calls. However, a lot of them aren't picking up or whatnot, or, you know, so some of them aren't the right numbers. And so then I was doing that mass email as well. But my question to you is that if, you know, I go back and I try these numbers and they've already received an email from me, are they more likely to say, hey, you know what, I don't want to, you know, deal with you because I received this.
I would just make the call. That if you're
Email
asking
from-
what my opinion is, I would just start with the calls.
Yep,
And
I am.
yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
because in most of the communications you would have via email, there's going to be an opportunity for them to opt out of email, right? So
Right.
if they're not on the do not call list, I can keep calling them.
Yeah.
I know some limiting beliefs will be, well, I know, but if I keep calling them, they're going to feel like I'm hounding them. Well, no, it depends on what your messaging is while you're calling them. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Lindsay, the reason for my call is I know that you're currently shopping for a home in the marketplace today. And with the velocity of the marketplace, me and my team wanted to get back to you as soon as possible so we can assist you, right? Because of the market, like I'm referencing that. Now, the other side of that is too, if I'm seeing that you are emailing me and calling me, okay, like that she's really on it. Everyone's going to feel differently about this. I just think one big mass email or consistent mass emails without the direct contact of the phone is going to fall flat.
Okay.
So do both.
Okay. Leah, what do you have for us, Leah? And if anyone has to jump off, we're running a little bit late. I do understand, but we're going to just kind of power through this. What do you have for us, Leah?
Just as far as the aha moment, I just realized it's just time to challenge myself, get out of my comfort zone. I just have new person jitters and how to talk to people, just having no knowledge, no experience. I'm so afraid of answering questions wrong or just not guiding someone right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think it's just time. I mean, I can't keep waiting and thinking all of a sudden I'm gonna know it. You know, I think it's just experience now.
Yep. Good for you for recognizing that. And the more you do it and the faster you get there, you'll start to feel more comfortable with it. So thank you for sharing. So we did talk about the 10 contacts, 10 conversations, 10 handwritten notes, 10 home previews, success leaves clues. The successful agents are still doing this. So I encourage you to keep up with the activities. We're not going to do scripts here online or role play, but we do have a do not call registry. So I have to remind you guys that we cannot be calling people on the do not call registry. If you need more information on the do not call registry, please go to your market center for that. If we do call somebody that happens to be on the do not call registry, our script is, I am so sorry. I will make sure that I take you off my list. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Okay.
And if you're using an online lead aggregator, most of them are claiming that they're doing that ahead of time for you. Double check. It's $42,000 per violation.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend that on cocktails or golf,
Yeah.
or a Mastiff or anything else.
Right.
And the federal government. Yes, please.
Yep. And I'm going to say, I think we got all the way through it. I kept you guys a little bit late, but I'm happy to stay on if anybody has a specific question. And again, thank you so much for today. I'm just so excited that you guys are jumping into Ignite, and I wish you all the very best.
I gotta tell you guys, thank you, Susan. I gotta tell you guys, one of the absolute best agents when it comes to instruction and teaching and knowledge that we have in New England. So you've been led into this on a high point. She'll be back on the 22nd and the 27th. Our market center will be back to hang with you guys. Please take a screenshot of that Survey Monkey so you can put in there, Susan Kenyon crushed it. And if you're talking to your leadership in and around the market center, I'll let them know that Susan Kenyon crushed it because they'll be talking to Nathan Dickey, who's our operating principal and runs our little ship here and is also our regional director. So can't thank
Thank
Susan
you, Tim.
enough
I appreciate
for her
that.
time today. Please, in the Survey Monkey, she might not be one of the automatic drop downs, but just put her name in, Susan Kenyon. If you didn't enjoy today's class, put Nathan Dickey was terrible, and we'll just blame it on him. If you loved it, it's Susan. If you didn't like it, it's Nathan. Either way. But we really appreciate your time today, guys. If you've got questions, comments, and concerns, again, Susan and I will be back on the 22nd and the 27th. We're teaching. You can reach me at 603-834-2856. If we didn't get to your questions in the comments, or T Lindsay, TLINDSEY @kw.com.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a
Thank
great day,
you. You
everybody.
too.
Take care.
Tim,
Yes, sir.
quick question before we go.
Yeah.
I haven't done any open houses, all
Mm-hmm.
right, and I want to preview properties. Can I go into, and even if it's not a KW open house, and just walk in and say, listen, I'm a realtor and I'm previewing properties?
Yep, absolutely. So there's, and then obviously there's some professional etiquette and courtesies we want to exercise as well. No matter whose open house it is, even if it's somebody within my market center or within the region of New England or a fellow KW agent in Tuscaloosa, I am not going to be in there talking to other people, right? They are consumers in their piece of property that they are marketing. So I'm going in for my my own well-being and to edify myself in the marketplace to understand the property better. So I'm going to walk in. I'm going to say, hey, just swinging through. Wanted to get a better idea of what's on the market right now for my future clients. I am not exchanging intel conversations. And if anybody did ask you a question, because you're in there with a KW shirt and a name badge or whatever, I'm going to direct them right back to the lead dog, whoever's hosting the open house. But absolutely, can you visit open houses? For sure. And another really big important thing too, guys, to remember, because it's huge leverage for you. If you have active buyers in the marketplace, encouraging them to go shopping without you. So you don't always have to be there. One of the best phone calls you're going to get is while you're traveling with your loved ones and the phone rings and it's Trevor saying, hey, Timmy, just wanted to let you know, Nathan Dickey and his family came through and they were checking out 123 Main Street. They seem to enjoy the property. I told him I'd circle the wagons with you. Can you check in with him to see if he's looking for another showing? Right. And when you educate your buyers really well, they're going to be comfortable to go in. Especially one of the blessings of COVID right now is asking people to sign in. You know, at the request and the courtesy of our sellers, we're asking that everyone signs in, you know, for contact tracing used to be the thing. Some people still might not want to, but if I've been educated and I'm Trevor Grist's buyer, I'm going to go in and I'm going to write down all my contact information and that he's my agent of notice. And they shouldn't have any issue with that. And if you educate your buyers as such, they should do that on your behalf. Again, when we're walking around other people's properties, we're not disseminating our business cards. We're not having conversations with people that are in that property if it's not our open house or our listing. But you should visit because that's one of the ways that we build our education around what's in the marketplace, right? And it's a great way, especially if you're a growing agent, you just got your license. Now, the next time I talk to Susan Kenyon or Trevor or Wade, it's not the first time they met me, right? And you're going to get this without fail because some people just can't seem to park their ego. I walk up to Wade and Wade's like, oh, hey, Tim, never met you before. You must be new. Like there's a veteran agent out there in the universe that will do that. And it's sort of ridiculous. They will. But Wade will never say that to me if he's already met me, if I've made a phone call, if I've stopped by his open house. Now, if I'm supporting his business as a fellow agent, not even a fellow KW agent, the likelihood that he's going to say something like that, hey, good to see you again. We haven't done 15 closings together. And more often than not, when you're walking up to Wade's front door of his listing with your clients are probably people that know and love and trust you, and they know this is your first at bat anyway. But the 80-20 rule, don't forget that 80% of the business is conducted by 20% of the agents. So you're going to keep running into the same people over and over and over again. So play nicely in the space, kill them with kindness and be professional. Okay. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns before we jump? Appreciate your time, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Take care.